Welcome to the Contemporary Comrades, everyone. We are back here for another episode, a really stacked episode at that. Now, this is your boy, Corn, of course, the owner and proprietor of Half-Ass Podcast, and of course, one of the 1/3 of the Contemporary Comrades. Over to my left, we have the proprietor, editor-in-chief, Heavy J. How's it going?
So, yo, what's up, yo? It's good. This one's gonna be good tonight. Audience of one, ready for it.
And to the right, we have the amazing, always energetic, always on 1001, Mr. Adam.
What's going on, people? Welcome back, Single Fan. Always a pleasure to entertain you and your multiple accounts. And yeah, we've got a full plate, as we usually do sometimes.
I love that energy, Adam.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. Well, I'll try to keep it at a good 50%, maybe a little more. But anyways, guys, yeah, I believe so. The topics for the night, when we go over those, I mean, somebody's got it. We're going to talk about cults, but in a matter of words, the kind of cults we're going to get into tonight are basically the ones that don't come across as actual cults at first. I for one, have had many experiences with multi-market, what is it called, multi-leadership marketing, MLMs. That's the full on
multi-level marketing.
Oh yeah, that shit. Whatever. I've been a part of them, but as you can see, I tried to repress the memories. But yeah, we're gonna get into that. I know a good bit about all of them that I've been a part of, aside from the actual name of the organizations. So yeah, we're gonna go into that. Corn and Jaron have each got a bit of stuff to get into as well. We're going to go over the coronavirus because that's a big thing in the United States right now. And we're going to get into some miscellaneous stuff with celebrities towards the end. Corn will pick us up from there. So yeah, guys, I will start us off with MLM stories. Now I know what MLMs are. All right, so Amway. Who's heard of those?
Amway? Yeah, I've heard of Amway Center here in Orlando. Orlando.
There's one there. There's West Palm too, I believe. A few times I've been down there, there's an Amway Center. Yeah, they hold events there. They can rent them out for celebrities, or I think even Trump himself was in one of those here last year. Yeah, so Amway is one of the many MLMs. Now, what Amway does is they sell products of their own, device. They have their own personal products, but the way they go about it is they introduce numerous people, like I'm talking like huge hotels full. And if you got a hotel hosting an event, it's already a red flag in my book. I've seen way too many hotels rent out these companies, and they just invite a bunch of random people who just want to make money, who just think it's a get rich quick scheme, which honestly most of the time it is, except minus the quick. You might be able to get rich through this, but it's not going to be quick, and you'll probably go broke. So you probably won't get rich. So honestly, the only thing you're really doing is just wasting your time. Anyways, I have had several experiences with Amway, which is why I want to cover the MLM stuff personally. So the first one was back in Corn. You remember when I first got involved with this. Clint was a part of it too. Me and Clint went to this Holiday Inn event for this company, and we didn't know what it was called. They're very shady about. Corn's doing something funny on his side of the Skype. They're very shady about what they tell you when you go into it. They pretty much always try to make sure you know that it's about making money with your free time. Like, who here wants to make profitable money on the time they have off from their job? And they make it sound really, really inviting, really, nice. They try to make it sound like it's about your family. It's about like your friends. It's about, building something up with yourself. And that's how they got me and Clint roped in for the first time. We ended up sitting at a 4-hour, count them, 4 hours of a seminar. And they really only started talking about their shit halfway through. They waste a whole lot of your time talking about what you could be doing, how much money you could have. Who here wants to travel to Bali? Just bullshit like that. They would just literally just yap. Try to puff you up, try to slather that butter under your armpits and under your fingernails and in your nose, just to get you on board with whatever they're selling. Then they start talking about McDonald's, how they got started, finally telling you who they are, right? So at that point, Me and Clint are like, oh yeah. So as just about everybody else in the room was. And a lot of people dressed up in suits. I think Clint wore some dressy shirt. I just wore some generic t-shirt. I never dressed up for anything. But anyways, yeah. Once we heard about what it is they wanted, they wanted you to join this thing called Amway, where we would be selling products for them, and it involved getting people involved aside from those in the room. So we would have to get others involved. And we're like, what? Is there enough people in this fucking hotel already? We're like, oh no, you got to invite 10 extra people. So at that point, we're like, okay, well, we'll see how we feel. We left after being just stuck in there for so much longer. And let me tell you about the people who are deep in this shit. I don't know if you guys know anybody who's a part of an MLM at this moment. Do you?
I actually do.
Jaron, you do.
And he's actually successful at it, which is funny. But yeah, I do.
Okay, but how does this guy act?
I mean, like pretty corny, yeah. Yeah, pretty.
You pretty much end up selling your soul, which what else is new, right? Well, we live in a society, but in this form, it gets kind of creepy. The ones that I noticed were successful with the MLMs had just the exact expression you might expect from somebody when you think of cult. Bug eyes, big wide smiles, 24/7. Hey there, buddy. You ready to join this and make some money?
Sounds like
I mean, that's why they wanted him, right? And let me tell you that this guy wanted Clint more than me, and he was not subtle about that whatsoever. But Clint's the one that dipped out first, which was funny. But anyways, yeah. So once we had the head honchos or the vice presidents, whatever, telling us to get involved, and we left. Went back and thought about it. I told my folks I was still living at home at the time. This was like 5 or 4 years ago at this point. And yeah, parents were like, "Don't do that." But I mean, they didn't know what it was, and neither did I. Clint's like, Clint told me his opinion on it. He said he didn't feel like it was for him. So I mean, I respect that. I went back to a few more, just because I hadn't signed up. Right, I didn't spend a dime at this Amway event. Let me make that clear before we have any listeners that are what I'm talking about. I did not sign up this time, but there's another story for that. So getting back, I went to a few more private meetings where they wanted me to call people. You know what I'm saying? And here's where Corn can chime in. Haven't people ever heard of Closing that fucking song? So I ended up calling a few people I hadn't talked to in fucking years. So we're talking about high school, right? I ended up calling like just some random people, like maybe this girl I went on a date with once, or this guy who I had class with. And so yeah, they're like, "Hey, what's going on?" I'm like, "Hey, would you like to be a part of this thing?" They're like, "Oh, maybe." And I'm like, "Yeah, I haven't talked to you in forever, and it just started feeling really weird. Like who does that, Someone and then I started to understand that someone who wants something will do anything to get that something, especially when it comes to money. I mean, obviously that's the way the world spins. Where we've all been a part of it for 20 odd some years. But yeah, so I finally started to understand what they were doing, and then to top all that shit off, they wanted me to invest $200 to join and to start getting products of my own to sell. And then I started understanding why so many of these people had these fake smiles on, because they had to literally develop salesman qualities to succeed here. And if they didn't do that, they were fucked. Because you're out of 200 bones either way,
So besides the investment of money, right? What separates this than like an insurance agent, right? Where you have to go and sell stuff, right? You have to go sell to companies
or a car salesman.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, I'll tell you. When you get a car, it's a personal investment that's only going to benefit you. Y'all know that. What does a car want back from you? A little love and tenderness, and give me some appointments and fix my shit. But the car is not trying to take you down in any other way. It's not trying to guilt trip you. It's not trying to get other people on board. And in insurance, that's for your best interest. But I know less about that than a car, and I know a little about cars too. But anyways, back to Amway. So yeah, as far as this goes, as far as what they wanted me to do, right? They wanted me to make sure I got these products and begin selling them immediately. Make sure that you make the money back.
I don't mean to interrupt you. What kind of products were they?
let's see, they had their own personal energy drinks. They had a lot of skincare products, a lot of makeup.
Yeah, they had a lot of snacks, like snack type bars and shit. Because I didn't do it. I never put money into it, but I also got caught in the trap of Amway a couple of times.
Okay, I'd like to hear that.
Well, I'll let you finish your shit.
Yeah, well, my shit's gonna go in and out. It's a lot of it, but you chime in whenever you want. So yeah, this first time after hearing that, I got a few more people on board, including an ex-girlfriend of mine at the time, which was both hilarious and just stupid, because I had her coming to these meetings with me for the first 3 or 4 times I went, which I ended up only going about 3 or 4 times total. But yeah, she was there with me, and I'm just like, what are we doing here? Like I'm reconnecting with all these people that I had no interest in reconnecting with, which that's not necessarily always a bad thing, because you might that's just real.
You can get their money in the end. That's the payoff for it.
Yeah, if they sign on. If they don't, you just end up wasting a whole lot more of your own time, which is what I ended up doing, because no one else wanted to join. Clint dipped out way earlier, and I ended up staying for, I think, about 4 weeks. And the last week, and I still hadn't paid them a dime, mind you, because I was cautious this whole time. So I thought this was a scam from the get-go, deep down. But I was like, okay, it's a side hustle opportunity. Let me just try it. Let me just see how well it goes. And in my last meeting, I remember calling you, Core, because I ended up having to call several more people with my phone, and that was just a hilarious endeavor. And I remember back then, you remember, you pretty much just kind of trolled us, and I mean, I was embarrassed at the time because we were all younger. I mean, whatever. I hadn't joined it. You remember that? Yes. Yeah. That's what happened. A little bit of friendly trolling, but only I was in on the joke. So let's leave it at that. Yeah. So they're like, "Oh, well, look, didn't seem very receptive." I'm like, I ended up leaving that night, and finally realized, no. After the call with Corn, I ended up talking to him. Like I said, listen, I don't think I want to join up on the money wise part. But then I said, being younger and dumber, I was like, but I'd still like to be in touch with y'all in case something else turns out. And they're like, oh no, you're gonna have to go. I was like, oh, well, that's how it is. Yeah, I mean, obviously that's how it is. But you know me, I was also trying to make friends this whole way, and what do you know? None of them actually want to be friends with me. So yeah, dipped out at that point, and that was it for me and Amway for a while. But we would meet again in the future. Jaron, why don't you go ahead and tell us your story though before I get back into it.
All right, I'll finish story time, but then I have a question for you.
All right.
So
I have a question, but I'll let you now ask the question.
So I almost got suckered into Amway. I'd say a total of 2 or 3 times. Yeah. I'd say about 3 times, and the most recent time, which was surprisingly about I think it was 2016, no, it wasn't 17. 2016, I think it was. I'll tell that story. But also, when I was younger, I was messing around with a chick, and she was into this stuff called Verve, and that's a similar multi-level marketing thing where you was selling an energy drink, but at least the product was actually good. Like I tried some of the Amway food, like the shit tasted bad. Like it wasn't even good. Like even MLM bullshit aside, like if I was going to be a salesman of any sort, I wouldn't sell that shit because it just wasn't good. Like the food didn't taste good. I tried the energy drink, it sucked. You didn't feel anything.
It was all just kind of like low market shit, and it wasn't really worth the price at all.
Yeah, it was really bad shit. So this particular story, I was living in Charlottesville at the time, whatever, and an old friend from college hit me up, and he was one of these friends where like we never really like chilled, but we were always cool in class. We did, we ended up teaming up together. We both would basically come together and get shit done and be cool the whole way, and it was cool. And we had a lot of similar classes together. We were freshmen together. We graduated the same year, all that kind of stuff. So he hits me up. He's like, "Yo, how you been, man? Yeah, good. Yeah." He's like, "Yeah, I got this opportunity." Like, keep in mind, I hadn't heard shit about Amway in like 3 or 4 years prior to this, so I kind of really forgot it existed.
Right.
And he's like, "Yeah, man." He hit me up on LinkedIn actually, and was like, "Yeah, how you been? Blah 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 blah." Yeah, I got this great business opportunity, man. he's like, you know, we need to use our degrees and stuff like that. I was like, yeah, word. I was like, because I was already trying to start my own business at the time, or thinking about starting my own business. And so long story short, we keep talking. He said he's going to come over to the crib and show me what he's talking about. And dude, when he gets there, he's still like, yeah, you know, the same shit basically Adam was saying. He has a great opportunity, you know, you try to rile me up. I'm like, all right, this is sounding kind of familiar.
At hype train.
And then he busts out that Amway packet. And I was like, shit. Yeah, I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
They save it to the end every time. They always save it to the end.
Yeah, I was like, man, like, I was like, dude, honestly, if you had told me that you were doing Amway, I wouldn't have even had you come over here, bro. Exactly. I told him, I was like, man, I thought we was going to catch up and talk about an actual, you know, like an actual opportunity or something. But I mean, you was just trying to get me to join Amway, dude. Like, you know, I was like, I can't, I'm not going to do it. Like, all right, I'm not going to waste your time with it. I was like, I'm sorry you wasted your time coming down here. If you'd have just told me,
straight up,
I could have saved you a 2-hour trip.
But see, that's that mentality that the head honchos build into them.
Yeah.
You can't talk about it until you're already there, until you've already got them buttered up, because people already know. Like,
yeah, but I will say he is actually doing well in Amway. He's actually doing like big like public speeches and shit on it. So like he's making the best of it. I'll give him that.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel him too. Once you accept that lifestyle, but you also, in my opinion, have to sell some of your soul to do it. Because I don't think anybody.
But all right. So thanks for saying that, because that brings me to my question, which is
okay.
What about Amway makes it a cult? Because we both have been involved with it, and I don't necessarily see it as a cult.
Okay.
So what to you about Amway makes it a cult? And we should probably pull up a definition of a cult.
I haven't pulled up. That was going to be my question.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
So, what's the definition? Yeah.
I'm looking at two of them. One of them, it does not pertain to it at all, and the second one might pertain to what Adam's saying. So this is kind of interesting to me.
Read them both.
The first definition: a system of religious veneration and devotion directed towards a particular figure or object, which is that doesn't pertain.
That could be. Amway could be that option.
The second one, a relatively small group of people having religious beliefs or practices regarded by others as strange or sinister.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you notice they both have the word religion in them.
Right. Yeah. That's another little subtopic I might branch into.
So we could go and define what a religion is. I can tell you what word it stems from in Latin, but religare is the word it stems from, which means to tie or to bind, and also to push forward. So even within the word religion, you've got two different ways of looking at it.
So the definition of religion is the belief in and worship of a superhuman controlling power, especially a personal god or gods. And the second one is a particular system of faith and worship.
So then we could start at we could beg the question. Wait, go ahead.
Sorry, a third one, which is relative. A pursuit or interest to which someone ascribes supreme importance.
There you go. There you go.
That's the one. So I will get back into why I believe this kind of stuff is a cult. Now, I'm not saying just Amway in general. I'm saying all MLMs. What they do, back to those people who are good at it. And I'm not saying your friend is like this, Jaron, but a lot of them are. They will just sell themselves.
I'll say it.
They'll sell themselves and behave in a way they never acted before, because they believe this new group is a family of theirs. It ends up being a lot like some religions do, and we can all relate. We can all relate to this. We all grew up in churches, and I'm not saying they're identical, but the way Amway treats people, they try to get you on board. And in this other meeting I went to, actually when I was here in Florida, this is off Amway's train now. It was something else. I don't even remember the name of it. It was like a competitor of Amway's, an MLM. Didn't know. What do you know? Didn't know about what it was until the very end.
Damn, fam, you got a few times.
Yeah, literally. That's why I want to do this topic. I've been got it more times than anybody should. But y'all know what I've been doing. But anyways, yeah. So in an attempt to make money back from moving, the first time I did it, yeah, I essentially joined this one for about a week, and their meeting was Amway on crack. If you can even imagine that. This time we had people coming in on the stage chanting and marching, hey, you know, like literally clapping in a fucking, I'm serious, in a group circle, chanting and marching around us in a circle. And I'm just like, what the fuck? And again, I'm the only guy not wearing a suit. But I'm literally looking around at the guy that invited me. He's got this dopey ass smile. His wife has got the same dopey ass smile. Everyone around me is also clapping. I'm like, what the fuck? And then when they're finally done, you got somebody up on stage crying, oh, this saved my life. Oh. And of course, they bring it back to religion. They also are all very devout Christians. What do you know? They start bringing it back to religion. They start talking about, oh, God is good. They brought me to this group, and I'm just like, wow, bro.
What the hell? What was this? They were wanting you to sell some shit.
I wish I remember.
This don't sound like no MLM.
No, it was an MLM. I wish I remember the name of it. They wanted you to sell shit. They also gave you this leadership book, which I still have that, about, you know, just about developing leadership qualities, and it wasn't even related to this marketing stuff. But yeah, once you read that book in 1 week, and we'll be texting in to see how far you are on that book. And don't get me started on that shit. Read a book in a week? Like, are you out of your mind? I'm fucking around. But yeah, that's still asking a bit much. But yeah, so this group text is just hamming it up. Like, okay, guys, we're definitely gonna sell this week. What are the numbers looking like? And it's just like, bro, I just started. Can I get initiated? Like, oh yeah. Well, we're just gonna hype you up, you know. And then I had this dude calling me. His name was like Tyler or something. It's like, hey man, you ready for this? Oh yeah, get pumped, bro. I'm like, all right. And at this point, I was just answering like one word answers.
Bro, if you already knew it was an MLM, why the fuck was you doing all that? Why don't you just cut it off right then and there?
Well, I only lasted there a week, and after I joined, I was immediately regretting it.
Why? I mean, if you have been scammed by Amway 5 times before then, like, what the hell?
This was the one time at Amway, and then almost a second time. Look, the reason I joined this time is because I met this guy through Shaper. I don't know if you've heard of the app called Shaper. It's a way to connect with other people who are trying to start businesses or make money on the side. Okay. So I met this guy through Shaper. Totally unaware he was with an MLM, but of course because they know what they're doing. They're all salesmen. This guy just talked me into it, and it was in Orlando too. I remember going there. That was when I first moved to Florida. It seemed like a fun thing to do, and yeah, they sure did show their true colors once I was there. And essentially, I believe I dipped out of there after a week. Right? Again, they were trying to brainwash people, and they succeeded with many. And I'm not going to say that those who commit to this shit fully don't become successful, because the proof's in the pudding. People were talking about going to Dubai and just random ass vacations, just like any entrepreneur does. But it comes at a heavy cost of your soul and sanity. And they were acting like a small sliver of the religion that I've seen people get pushed into. And that's where I get the whole cult vibe from. Okay. And then I dipped out and made sure they didn't have any of my information left. And that was the last MLM I have joined, because that was the only MLM I ever joined. But there's one more story. There's one more story.
But wait, there's more.
But wait, there's more. So the last time I was exposed to an MLM, and it better be the fucking last time, was Amway again, but they didn't tell me until the very end. And I'm talking like after three. It was. Listen, this was through Shaper again, mind you, because I am skeptical when it comes to any named fucking MLM. But if I see Amway, I'm out. And I hope you all understand that. I know I sound like an idiot through this because I was being stupid, but if I even smell Amway, I'm out. This guy didn't say a word about it. This was through Shaper again, and this dude said he'd been an entrepreneur for 2 years now. He just got married or whatever. We did Skype. Of course, he's wearing a suit. That's always a red flag. Tells me that, yeah, my buddy, you know, he got me involved with this program, and I've just been racking in money. I was able to quit my job after a year. I'm like, hell yeah, bro. Let me hear what's good with that. So then I meet his wife. I'm like, okay, hi. So tells me, yeah. You know, I'm doing good with it too. You know, I just started
Was
it.
she hot?
Of course. That seems to be a trend with the MLMs. Usually have a hot wife, but yeah. So then after that, I met the other guy, the one who was in charge. This dude was wearing a straight up tuxedo during the Skype. So here I am, my fucking tank top, talking to two guys in suits through Skype, and I'm like, it's just like, all right, I can feel where this is going. So this guy's like, so to get you started, we want you to come out to this hotel for a meetup group. I'm like, oh god, yeah. So and here's where I got pissed because I hadn't joined yet. I was like, all right, so what is this? Are you Amway? Because I have had some bad experiences with Amway. It's like, all right, so we are Amway, but we're a small branch of it. You see, we organize the products themselves. We don't actually associate with Amway specifically. We are a branch of them. Like, bro, no. It's just like, no.
That's what my homie from college said. The same thing. He was a branch. He said he used that same terminology. I forgot about that. That's funny.
Fuck out of here. Okay, so I got ahead of myself. This was after I already said no to their meetup group, because what this guy said to me the first time he wanted me to meet up with these people and get acquainted. He says, here's what he says. He says, all right, so this Thursday night, 6:45, of course, because I'm stupid ass time, at the Holiday Inn, we've got a initiation group for learning about the marketing. So what do you need to put aside to make it there that night? I'm like, wait, what the fuck? What do I need to put aside? How about, can I make it? No, they literally are like, so this is super important. You're going to have to come. And it's like, dude, okay, you're already losing me by being pushy, saying some shit like that.
You should have. They should have lost you as soon as you heard AMWAY.
No, this is before that. No, and then I get on there and ask them what it is. Is this Amway? And then it gives me all that whole spiel about we're a side branch of it. Like, all right, man, I'm out. Like, you're not gonna keep wasting my time. And they kept trying to get me to read another book. Like you read this book in a week? Like, fuck off. All right, and that was my last. That was it. Okay, and I know it took 3 fucking times, but that was the last time I ever associated with an MLM, because I guess I can't trust Shaper anymore. I haven't been on that app again since. Because half these people just want you to join their shit. They just want. Here's the thing about people who are rich. People who are rich will never try to get you rich unless it means they stay rich. They want your money at all times. Nobody's going to try to help you out of the goodness of their heart, period. As far as wealthy goes. As far as the wealthy goes.
I also still disagree.
All right, let me hear.
Corn, what you look like you about to say something. Go ahead, man.
Are you saying in general, or are you just saying in MLMs?
As far as the rich and wealthy goes, unless they're like associated with you personally, if it's a stranger, they want your money.
Are you saying in general though, or are you just talking about just MLMs, so wealthy people in MLMs, or wealthy people in general?
People who are on a platform, who are wealthy, trying to who say they want to make you wealthy, they want money.
If they say they want to make you wealthy, maybe.
Well, yeah, that's their job. Of course, they want money for that.
Yeah, they're not going to try and lose money, but at the same time, I thought you were just talking about wealthy people in general. If they walked up to a stranger and tried to give them money, because they've done that before, that's proven. But
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Well, I was sticking to the MLMs for the most part, but it can branch off into other wealthy people. I mean, it just depends.
The way you said it, you made it sound like all wealthy people were.
Like people are just, you know what I mean?
They're not all dirty. I mean, of course not. But here's what it does. It makes people skeptical. People like me, it makes us skeptical when you've been scammed or attempted to be scammed several times. That from this point on, if I ever come across something like that again, I'm asking straight up, are you an MLM? Because you can't keep fucking people over like that. Some, I was lucky. I didn't give my money to this shit. A lot of people do. A lot of people give their money and they don't get it back. And what it ends up doing, it ends up you end up making fake friendships out of this stuff. That's honestly what broke me in all these times, is just the chance for more friends. That's what they were trying to sell at first. I had people approaching me. I had this, so that second time, I had this attractive woman approach me about it. And it's like, yeah, of course, a man's going to be down They know what they're doing. They know what they're fucking doing. And you end up thinking it's personal when it's not. And that's honestly, with that coupled on top of all the fake smiles and handshakes and, oh, we're going to make our dreams come true, buddy. It's dirty, man. It's a good way to make somebody think, a lot of people are like this. Like, it's a good way to rub somebody the wrong way and fuck up their mindset.
I'll say this. It sounds like it is cult-like. It sounds like, okay, this does confirm somewhat to be a cult.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I mean, it's not different than what we see in other things too. Like, I mean, you talk about. I've never been scammed into Amway or anything like that. Not even close, because I just don't really. Once anybody tries to sell me anything, I just unless it's Girl Scout cookies, I'm not really buying anything. But it sounds like the same approach that when you have like Mormons come to you like at a mall or something, where they're like, how's it going, blah blah blah, and then in the very end they're like in their like closing statements they start saying like, oh well, here's this Mormon book, have you guys heard of Mormon, all that shit, right?
Yeah.
This seems kind of, I mean, from what you say, this does seem kind of extreme, like,
yeah,
in terms of, okay, you got to be here at this time when I say so or when we say so.
Yeah.
If you don't make it, that means that you're not committed, blah blah blah.
There you go.
Which, there's always certain jobs like that. When I look at
it's pretty wild
and stuff like that. And the marching and all that stuff you were talking about, like the marching and the dancing and the screaming, yelling, all that shit and singing.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
That does seem weird to me. You might have told us that before. I just didn't really pay attention to that until now.
I don't think I ever did.
That's very alarming. But on the plus side of it, though, I mean, there's always a plus side to cults. That's how you get them to join your cult, right?
Oh yeah,
so
money.
Their plus side is, hey, money.
The money you could be making. Yeah, you could be making.
I quit my job. Like I know a couple people that were in MLMs. I don't know if they still are. I haven't really kept in contact with them, but there's this one girl I knew that she was a part of Amway, I believe. There's one guy that I knew, he was a part of MLM. I don't know if it was particularly Amway, but it sounded like the same shit from Amway, where they just sell like second level products and try and get them out there, trying to get people to buy them.
Well, hold on. Can I bring something up real quick?
Yeah.
How about what? So I don't think these are exactly like MLMs, or would you say these things are cult like? So like the Mary Kay makeup selling and the
that's
what's that other one that they sell the sex toys and shit, and they host them parties or whatever. What's that shit called? What's that? What is it?
Adam and Eve?
Nah, it's like another. It's a company. Dang, I used to mess around. Oh, anyway, I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, I know a girl that did Mary Kate.
Mary Kay and like selling like the Tupperware and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like all
she
that.
Stay with it because I mean I can tell you that most people that I've known that get involved with this shit don't stay with it. I got a friend that was doing another one. What was it called? Primerica. Just another MLM. And he hasn't mentioned that in a while, so I'm glad.
Herbalife, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I know some successful people in Herbalife.
Yeah.
That's alarming too, because my mom's been with Mary Kay for over 10 years at this point, selling for Mary Kay.
Yeah.
And she makes a pretty good profit off of it too. But yeah, she's always busy with that. So I mean, I don't know too much about that. Like she hosts like parties and stuff like that for Mary Kay.
Yeah.
But again, I don't know too much about that in terms of like cult-like stuff. So I don't want to really get into it because I don't really know too much about it. But
I remember the one with the sex toys, Pure Romance. That's what it's called.
Never heard of it.
Yeah. It's like Mary Kay, but for like sex toys and all that kind of sexual shit, like like body oils and whatever the fuck. I was just curious if y'all thought that they were cult like, because I think they're not as like those aren't as crazy as like the Amways of the world to me.
Amways.
They're definitely at the same level.
They're tiered. They're a tier. There's a tier group for them. I mean, there are extreme ones and there are like lesser ones, but they all kind of relate back to the same shit.
They're all in the same bubble.
But if they relate back to the same shit, though, would they still be considered a cult-like form if they're not necessarily forcing you to do anything.
Well, I guess if that's the case, then Star Wars is a cult-like form too, you know.
Shit, bro. Anything can be with a popular enough fan base. Absolutely, it can be. Well, honestly, man, that I was noticing religious, tendencies here from some of the bad churches I've been to younger. I remember specifically one church I went to where they were doing the whole chanting and hooting around, and people were flying backwards, which I've never been on board with. Ever. I've never been on board with fucking exorcism in the church, and or just like you're healed and they fall over. I feel like that shit's got to be premeditated. It's got to be acted out.
For the listeners, define exorcism, because you can't just throw around the word exorcism like that.
Yeah. All right. Maybe not a full-on exorcism. So,
I mean, it's funny, but it's not really the real.
It's not a full-on like demon expulsion, because what I noticed from some of these extreme churches, they start talking in tongues, they start waving a cross in your face, they start chanting who knows what, and then the person will start having seizures or start just like spitting out like random just like some just crazy shit, some gobbledygook, if you will, and then they'll be cured. What? There's
a build up to that though. They don't just go out there and start doing it.
They don't just start it. No.
They make you. And
I think so.
This is. I'm treading on really thin ice when I say this, but it's as if, because I do agree with you that it is kind of like a cult. It's a cult-like thing. But they build you up to that. Like they make you believe that you're actually speaking to someone. Now, whether you are or not, I don't know, because I've never done it, but I have seen firsthand. Times, and in a church setting, to where they'll put the essential oil. I don't know what to call it, essential oil, but they put some kind of oil on you.
Holy water or the oil.
Sometimes it'll be like olive oil, and they'll put it on like a rag, and then they'll put it in their hand, and rub their hands together, and then they'll put it on your forehead. Or they'll say a certain body part of yours is hurting. Okay, we'll put it on there. Now, I agree that it's cultish to that sense. Like that's cultish behavior, but to us, we may not it may not return to us because we don't fuck with it.
Right.
But in some cases, it's not necessarily a bad practice.
Explain.
Yeah, please explain that.
Because in other countries, that's it's been proven.
Quite normal.
That it's super normal, and in other countries, it's been proven that it actually helps.
Yeah. You talking about the oils or like the expelling demons?
That whole religious practice of
speaking in tongues. Like they put the oil on you, speaking in tongues. They make you pass. They make you pass out, or you'll just pass out. I don't know if they make you pass out, but you pass out, and then they'll put you in like a tent for like 2 days, and then 2 days later you come out and you're fine. You're completely normal.
I honestly feel like a lot of that has to do with brainwashing. A lot of it has to do with making you think something so much that you feel like once you think something different at that point, all your problems are gone. Like when they put that shit into somebody's head in the church, and I'm going to bring this back to MLMs in a minute, but when they do that, so talk about demon possession, talk about how you sin to the ultimate level, and they start holding your head and saying free her, free him, it's just like, and then the person on the receiving end starts thinking that this preacher's taking away all my problems, just like that. So everything he's saying must be true. This is going to solve all my problems. So maybe there is a demon inside me. Wait a minute. I'm possessed by King Kong. They'll start thinking all this fucking shit. And who knows? Who's to say what that other person's thinking? Someone who grew up, I still consider myself Christian, who grew up in the churches, and thankfully I only had to experience some of this few times. So seeing stuff like that, I feel like they get told something so much they start believing it themselves. That's true for religion itself, is it not? That's true for religion itself. That's true for any message we believe. Get told it enough, related to your life enough, you'll believe it. And that, bringing it back to the MLMs, they mimic that shit. They mimic pushing the message. And as far as the whole fellowship part, which I feel like every church, good ones and bad, would represent fellowship. they start making you feel like you're part of a family. So you want to make your family happy, don't you? So join us, join us, one of us, and then before you know it, you have a hot wife of your own who's also brainwashed. You're in a suit before you know it. You're walking around with a bow tie on. Where does this come from? Oh, and now you're smiling ear to ear. What did Clint say last episode? A banana peel, smiling ear to ear. Before you know it, you're part of a new family. Now things are good. Now things are the way they need to be. Because now I'm a part of something bigger than me.
Yeah, you really did just break it down there, though.
There you go.
I feel what you're saying, but I do want to ask you one thing. So do you think that we're any less brainwashed in the U.S.?
Oh, we're fucked. But I mean, not quite to that level yet, personally. I mean, I'll go ahead and say that while I'm not perfect, none of us are. I consider myself fucked up, but not to that degree. Yeah, no, I mean, we're all brainwashed by something. Something has gotten in all of our heads at some point.
But is that brainwashing though? It's not like having things that form your opinions and your thoughts are not. It's not necessarily all brainwashing. But I see. But
maybe not the word brainwash is appropriate here. We've all been warped in some way. Let's leave it at that. All our personalities come from our experiences, from what we've been exposed to. But
I wouldn't use the word, but I mean that's better than using brainwashing. So that's
Okay, that's a misspoke on my part. Not everyone is brainwashed. We just have all lived life, and we've all been told something.
Your experiences and everything, and things that you're exposed to, that creates,
that creates you. Yeah, it does. Warren, you got anything?
Actually, I think brainwash is appropriate. I think everyone's
okay.
in their own way.
I disagree, but go ahead.
I think brainwash is too strong too. I think that's a misspoke in my part.
Because if you're raised in a loving, nurturing home and your parents want the best for you, that's not necessarily brainwashing.
No.
Just as if you're raised in the hood and all you know is shooting, killing, robbing, that's not necessarily brainwashing. That's not deliberately put on you to make you think a certain way. It's you just happen to be born in that, and then that's all you have. You know what I'm saying?
You just grow accustomed to it.
Yeah, you just grow accustomed to it.
There you go.
Well, shit. But yeah, long story short, I guess MLMs are cults.
That's been my experiences being exposed to MLMs, what I believe they relate back to, and I'm not a fan of them. And hey, if anybody listening is a part of one and you're doing well, props. You do you. Just saying that you might want to look into how some of these people are behaving and see if you can relate.
Yeah. I've been fortunate enough to not have to have dealt with any MLMs, as far as I know of.
That's good.
I did have a situation to ask you guys, though, a situation to bring you guys about, since we're on this cult topic, fraternities. Mm-hmm. So recently, the reason why I came with this example is because recently, Boosie, the rapper Boosie, he was seen at a basketball game about 2-3 weeks ago, taking a picture with a Kappa. I don't remember the specific fraternity name, but it was one of the Kappas. And he took a selfie with it on, and he never was even in a fraternity. He actually knew someone in a fraternity, somehow got a sweatshirt of it.
Okay.
And then he got a lot of backlash, which, of course, anybody that does anything gets a lot of backlash for it. So that wasn't really surprising. But then actually members from the fraternity, I guess you could say alumni, but I guess once you're in a fraternity, you're always a part of a fraternity.
Yeah.
They came out and they were like,
brothers.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They were like, yo, you gotta take that off. Like, which really been the question for me of how powerful are these fraternities, and do we consider them cults? Which I guess we kind of already answered whether they're cults or not, because like you guys said, Star Wars fans are cults. So I guess I'm a part of a cult to some capacity. So is this an extreme act from a cult? Is fraternities saying, hey, you can't wear our stuff? Like, I mean, that's pretty much just trying to walking around rocking a Freemason's necklace or something, or a Freemason's ring or something, right?
Yeah, they're. I consider them part of the whole thing.
And I'm kind of curious as to how powerful fraternities really are. I'd say sororities, but I don't know anything about sororities. I do know a little bit about fraternities, though. But
they're just male and female equivalent of the same thing.
It used to be really harsh things you'd have to do to get into one. Kind of eased up on that now because of just eased up on everything in this day and age with trying to fit in and trying to get in, basically just letting people in and stuff now. Right. I want to know you guys' thoughts on, if you guys have any thoughts or any knowledge on fraternities and how wearing something as simple as a hoodie with the fraternity name on it really impacts people's viewpoints from that fraternity.
Okay. So as far as fraternities and sororities go, I want to ask a question because I don't know too much about them either. Do you believe, because Horn, you know more about this than me, that you have to look a certain way to get into fraternities and sororities?
I'm going to go with no.
You don't think that sororities,
now
especially
certain fraternities, but just to get into a fraternity, no. It just depends on the fraternity. I personally believe it depends on the fraternity.
Okay. Because I've noticed sororities usually are comprised of mostly, attractive women. Like, and I mean that in like the way of
seeing unattractive women.
Generally, like overly attractive women, the ones that you expect to get others involved, the ones that make people want to go to sororities, the ones that you know what I mean. So I didn't know if fraternities are similar. Do they have like the more attractive men? Like, is that a thing? Is that still being pushed?
I personally don't know. Okay. Because I've never been to a 4-year college. I mean, I've obviously been around 4-year college, especially when I was in Harrisonburg at JMU. I wasn't at JMU, but I lived pretty much on campus at JMU, damn near.
Yeah, you did. I remember that.
And of course they all look, but a lot of the attractive chicks at JMU pretty much looked alike. But I've also seen unattractive chicks in sororities. So, I mean, I honestly don't know.
Do you think they started doing that so they wouldn't be told that it's all about looks? Because I always thought that was the case.
Well, in this day and age, you're not going to be able to say like, oh, you have to, it's pretty much been
exactly.
From what I know, because I've only known 2 people that were in fraternities, and the ones that they were in, it was based on looks, but it was also based on other things too. It was based on some of them were really based on some hardcore dumb shit. Like
get into that.
Like parents' income, all the other bullshit.
What? Parents' income?
Yeah, there's some hardcore stuff like
if your parents went to that school and shit like that.
Oh wow, bro! Come on.
You have to be related to or have some kind of recommendation to get into that fraternity from a former member of that. Now,
you gotta be related to somebody.
Now, of course, that part I'm sure has not changed, but the hazing part of getting into, like being initiated into it, has changed for the most part. Now, of course, you're going to have some other ones where kids are still dying trying to get into fraternities and stuff like that. Like they just had the case in Georgia, I think at Georgia Southern, where a 19-year-old kid died trying to get into a fraternity because they made him do like so many lines of coke in the living room. And then he ended up dying that morning, like next morning.
Shit, wait. So now they're doing coke to get into fraternities?
They've been doing that.
Doing that for decades, like since like the
time, bro.
Holy fucking shit, dude.
Yeah, like you ever heard about that stuff? Like
I always heard about like run around in your underwear or something to get in or some shit like that. Like, and
I really hope I'm not breaking.
Maybe in a Disney movie.
Maybe all I know is from movies.
Yeah,
but in real life, it's way more than that, fam. And also in real life, coke is like ain't shit in college anyway, compared to the other shit that people do in college. But I digress on that.
And I really hope I'm not breaking ground with this, but I know like at least back when I was in the Army, like people that came from West Point had some of the craziest stories about it. That's pretty much a frat and sorority as well. Like it's
the whole damn school,
It's initiation, like going outside in 20-degree weather in the dead of winter at 2:00 in the morning, and you're down in your drawers, and they slap you on your chest and all this other shit.
Yeah.
And yeah, like all that stuff. For the most part, from what we know, it's been pretty much controlled after that. But there's still some fraternities and sororities out there that make you do stuff like that. Sororities, I don't know too much about because I'm sure they don't do stuff like that.
Oh, I believe they did.
But fraternity, like I know sororities, they've had like gang bangs and shit like that. That you have to go through.
I believe it. He's definitely serious. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
There are sororities out there where there was a porn star. Damn, I forget which one it was, but this porn star, she came out and said that how she got into porn was from her sorority.
Yeah,
that's
there's like a secret sorority out in California at USC. Oh shit, I probably shouldn't have said that, but yeah, USC. I already said it now. At USC,
okay.
Where they had like they would develop porn stars, and there was one at Duke University as well.
Oh shit!
Not surprised.
North Carolina
either.
That's the one in North Carolina.
Duke's in Pennsylvania, man. I don't think Duke's not in Carolina.
No, Duke's in Carolina, bro. Duke's in Durham, North Carolina.
I used to,
oh shit! Never mind. I'm thinking of Penn State. My bad.
Yeah,
which also never mind. I'm sure.
But yeah, they make you blow half of the football team in like one small dorm. Different stuff like that. But see, I don't know too much about the sorority part of the other kind of initiations they have. I just know about the sexual ones with sororities. But I don't want to paint that picture because I don't want to paint the picture of women only do sexual things to get into it. So that's why I'm saying I don't know about sororities. But fraternity part, I do know they do some really fucked up, especially back in the day, they did some really fucked up shit. Like,
they're doing the same shit in sororities too, bro. I mean, I really don't think there's anything worth defending there. I mean, they're just doing it in a different way. You know, yeah, I mean,
we can't say that if we don't actually know.
I think we haven't. You have as evidence. You already told us. So I mean, take it for what you will, but they're obviously both two sides of the same coin. It's just the male and female equivalent. But yeah,
but besides the initiation part, right? So back into the whole cult-like stuff. Because again, to me, all I looked at it as was just like, okay, you're going to college, you do stupid shit to get into pretty much a membership.
Exclusive.
An exclusive group, and you have a membership for life. And what I learned too is you don't even have to graduate. You don't even have to get your college degree to even still stay in the, like, once you're in, you're in. It's pretty hard to get kicked out of it.
Okay, well, I mean, pretty hard to get kicked out. So they abide by the whole you're with us for life thing, then.
Yeah. And that's where I was like, is that particularly a cult then? Because a lot of cults is honestly pretty easy to get out of a cult.
well, hold on.
You said it'd be easy?
Yeah, I mean, if you think about most cults, right? The ones that Adam's been, like the MLM, it's pretty easy to get out of a cult. You're not part of that for life unless you really want to be a part of it for life.
Nah, bro, because they have like your fucking information locked up. Like they have, and then that, once you get like knee deep in that shit, like all these people who are probably gonna talk shit and get you broke back in, or that they were trying to guilt trip me.
But here's the thing, though. I don't mean to cut you off, but I mean to cut you off. If you talk about Amway, like we're doing right now on a recording, right?
Yeah.
And someone from Amway catches wind of it, there's not really anything they're going to do about it.
Because I'm not a part of it. Yeah. They can't do shit to me because I'm not a part. If I was in the cult, I'm sorry, the company.
I disagree with that.
Fuck me up. Go ahead, Jaron.
If you're saying
head though,
what's that?
Would they really put a hit on your head though? If you were part of Amway, you talk bad about Amway, or would they just keep you out?
They probably couldn't like get me assassinated, but they find a way to fuck your life even more.
Yeah, they probably would fuck with you, I'd imagine. I mean, but then again, like, it depends on how Amway's really run. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I wonder what the consequence is, though.
That's what I'm saying. Like if you were working for Amway, making money, and then you oust to Amway, like that's like that. I imagine that would happen with anybody who outs any major company. They get fucked up in some way.
Yeah, bro.
Because Amway's big, so
they'll find a way to ruin your life.
Because you look at Lyra Meany.
Oh, corn.
Example.
I've got something. This
Oh,
isn't.
Lyra Meany. She, I mean, you look at her. She's been ousting Scientology for years now. Without, I mean, from what we've seen, we haven't seen any kind of. We've seen a little bit of backlash from it, but she's open about everything that goes on inside of Scientology, and she's still alive and kicking, and still running around preaching against Scientology.
That's what's up. I mean, yeah, more power to her. Well, I will say this. This isn't an MLM, but it's a dirty company. GameStop. We know them well. They're heading into some tough times these days. Now, I came across a YouTuber who used to work for GameStop, who ended up quitting for undisclosed reasons. Now, he is then on a YouTube channel, talking shit about them.
Oh, I've seen that guy.
Yeah, talking shit about them. Now, he got a job somewhere else, as well as doing this. GameStop found a way to get him fired from his new job. They ended up looking up reports on him or something, and of course not his YouTube job, because that's something else, but they ended up finding a way to get him fired from the job he left GameStop for, because he was talking shit about them on YouTube. They literally spun it around and got him fucked over. So these companies will fuck you up if you fuck with them. Especially if you remember.
What job did he have that he got fired from, though?
I don't know exactly what he was doing.
I said because if it was a gaming company, that would make sense.
No, I don't think he got another gaming store job.
No, I'm not saying a gaming store, a gaming company.
No, his other job wasn't even really addressed, at least from what I saw. It was because he was talking shit on GameStop that they found a way to get him fired.
So we
don't know for sure. That's not the best example. I just thought of that. Because I didn't research this part at all. But I can look them up while we change the subject. I can definitely look that one up. Let me pull it up now, actually.
I mean, the only reason why I brought up the whole fraternity thing is that when you have somebody so powerful, where you get somebody like Boozy, that you know what I mean, you have somebody like Boozy saying, "Oh shit, I should probably delete this shit and get rid of the hoodie."
Yeah.
That speaks volumes to somebody like me, to where I've followed that culture, and I've been a part of that culture since I was a kid, to where it's like you can't tell us to do nothing and expect us to do it. But the fact that this fraternity came out and it was like, fam, take that hoodie off if you know what's best for you. That spoke volumes to me as to, wow, fraternities actually have pretty big pull, a lot more pull than I thought they did. I just thought, fraternities were, if you need a job, you go somewhere. It's the same thing as Freemasons. Like, you go somewhere and you're part of that same membership, or part of that same group, and you are for sure in there because you spent such and such group.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Well, not all fraternities are bad, I don't think, because like I said, there are some that actually focus on positive things, and initiations aren't ridiculous. Also, that reminds me of basically fraternities are nothing more than like an exclusive brotherhood, right?
Yeah.
What else do we all know of that's an exclusive brotherhood? The military service.
Ooh, yeah.
And what do they do when somebody acts as if they were in the military and they weren't? It's called stolen valor, right? And people get called out. You get YouTube videos made about you. You get ousted in public and all kinds of other crazy shit.
Yeah.
So I don't. That to me seems to be the same sort of defense that they were doing. Like they had to do XYZ to get in here. You had to be part of this, inside of this, to then even be considered. And then once if you're considered, then you got to do all this other crazy shit, and then you get to wear that patch. Like and just for some rich rapper to buy a fucking shirt with it on there, it's almost like a slap in the face. So I understand why they did it.
Yeah, and wow, that's a great example, because as much as I talk down, I wouldn't say I talk down. We're recording, I don't give a shit, whatever. But as much as I've talked down on my time in the military and my thoughts on the military and how it works and everything, I'd be pretty pissed and I've seen people, I've talked to people that have told me that they were in and they were never in, and or they've gotten close to being in because of all the hard work that I did put in to. I mean, regardless of my opinions about the military,
you put the work in, like, you know.
Yeah, put the work in. It was a lot of fucking work, and it's not as easy as you guys think, especially once you go to a unit that I was in, where you have to work harder to not only keep your job, but to move up and to gain respect from your peers and your coworkers and stuff like that, and fellow soldiers, I guess you could say. Like it is somewhat. It's definitely. I wouldn't even say somewhat. It's definitely a brotherhood.
Yeah.
So when you see somebody do something like that, yeah, I mean, I can understand. That's a great example. I wasn't even think of that, Jaron. So
yeah, I didn't either until just now. It just popped in my fucking head, man.
Yeah, that's
You know, and we've come across like certain people from the military who get that mindset and they push it on everybody. And I've noticed a few like guys that I've met who are just like the worst of what it has to offer, and it made me not even want to even hear about it, because they're doing the shit that, you know, we've been talking about, kind of like fraternities, Corn. They're pushing the, you know, like I'm better than you mentality, and it comes from what they picked up on the important parts.
But that's with anything though. You gotta take that with a grain of salt though, because that's with anything.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That can be with a job. That can be, you know, I can go somewhere and be a cook somewhere, and then somebody who's a chef can probably, you know, treat me like shit because I didn't do the work to get a chef degree or a culinary. You know, that could be with anything.
I mean, fair. Hey, not to change the subject too terribly, I did just look up what that guy did.
Mm-hmm.
The guy from I mentioned earlier, he was selling items. They said undisclosed third-party sales at Walmart. Like he was selling stuff again. So that's how GameStop was able to look into his record and tell that company through a branch of Walmart. It says the store. They pretty much talked shit on his salesman. You know, they said he was pretty much bringing in damaged goods for GameStop. You know, long story short, that's what got him fired. And because a disconnect from what and this is all because he was talking shit on GameStop through YouTube. So it came back to bite him in the ass, and he ended up losing his actual job. He needed to pay the bills, which, you know, that's fucked. But that's, you know.
I'm not surprised, but I'm weak.
GameStop has really taken a toll on him as well. And while they should have stopped being so corrupt and stopped being so pushy and trying to shove everything down everyone's throats, they might have been making a profit by this time.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
but
for real, man.
But then again, we can't completely blame that. I mean, I know we're getting on a totally different thing, but we can't completely blame that on them being corrupt either. It's just the environment and the climate right now in terms of video games is all going digital, which completely eliminates GameStop's, you know, what's the word for it? But it just completely eliminates GameStop's position.
The whole niche. So like the getting games in person is going to be going away before we know it.
Yeah,
because
it will. Yeah, it will.
Because next generation's all going to be digital.
Years now. GameStop hasn't made a profit in 2 years.
I'll tell you what will be left around. There'll be a specific store for, I would say, retro gaming, because next generation is going to be all about the new stuff's going to be digital, but they're going to be backwards compatibility is going to be pushed very hard. So we're going to have to be able to get physical copies of the old stuff. So I feel like maybe GameStop won't go out of business yet, despite what we think. I mean, yeah, they're going to be losing more and more money, but they might keep closing stores. Hell, they might even them close and something else opens up just for the retro stuff. You know what I mean?
They've already closed a few stores for GameStop.
They have. Yeah.
GameStop's a new Blockbuster. That's for sure.
Fuck's sake.
Yeah.
That's
honestly, yeah, dude.
A brutal way of looking at it, but very true. Except not even as half as fun to go into as Blockbuster was.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was
I think that's a pretty good finale too. We went all up and down the grid over it. I mean, that's a solid analysis of cult behavior in companies.
I think we did pretty good on that one.
Shit.
Well,
now.
Goddamn tired.
Well, You know,
that's Colts for your ass.
yeah, and that's Colts, folks.
That's Colts for your ass.
So you're saying that?
That's all, Colts.
All right, that's an inside joke. But anyway, so we're gonna segue into this coronavirus that you know that has swept China and is getting ready to sweep America.
Yeah.
Or is it not?
Or did they?
You know, or did it? Or will it? So I'll just give a bit. I'm sure everybody already fucking knows about this shit already, but I'm gonna give a little bit of the background. So this. All right, keep in mind, this is a new strain of coronavirus. Coronavirus has been around since the 50s. There's okay. I'm not going to rant on the way on these fucking viruses and you know shit like AIDS, Ebola, and coronavirus and all this other shit. I'm not gonna harp on it on this episode.
You are harping on.
I'm gonna try not to anyway, because every time one of these fucking viruses come up, everybody acts like it's never been seen before and it's so uncontrollable, and you know when the case is really you know a lot of these viruses are already patented, are being cultivated in labs, tested, they're being you know modified to see certain outcomes, and this is all like on public record. But coronavirus has gotten you know so many thousand people in China infected, and it came from bat soup, and you know everything else. So anyway, I'm just giving a little bit of background on this current strain of coronavirus, because this one is out as you'll see here in a few. This one is actually a bit different. So coronavirus is like it's a respiratory disease virus essentially. It attacks the respiratory system. So there are some older strains known as like HCOV-229E, HCOV-0Z43, or HKU1 from the early 1950s. This one in particular has something with 2019, and I can't remember the actual scientific strain name of it. But it's currently infected 80,000+ people in basically the city of origin, which I guess is Wuhan, China. Currently affected 80,000+ people. It's probably actually more than that now. That's like 2 days old. So in this one city in China, it's infected 80,000 people already. But you got to remember, China is a place of like 1.2, 1.3 billion people. So 80,000 really is a relatively small number. Just in that one city, though. I don't know. There's somewhere between like 6 to 10 cases confirmed in America. I don't know if anybody can back me up on that, but it's not really. It's only in like 4 states in America. I could probably. So yeah, it's in like California, New Mexico, Washington, and Michigan. Those are the states that it's been detected in so far. So basically what this virus does, it attacks the respiratory system, like I said. But I did a little bit of research on it, and I've done previous research on other coronaviruses, such as SARS and MERS, which I don't know if anybody remembers the quote-unquote SARS outbreak of the early 2000s. That happened in China. Everybody was scared that was going to come to America, and you know, it's a similar thing to this, really. So this virus was developed at Pirbright Institute, which, oddly enough, Bill Gates is one of the largest shareholders. So does anybody know about the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation?
No.
No. So they have these initiatives where they dump literal billions of dollars into countries, in first world countries, and you know their goal is to bring you know sustainability to these third world countries and you know eradicate disease and all this kind of shit, right? So what they end up doing really is quite the opposite, and I suggest everybody look research into why India cut its vaccination ties with the foundation. I'm not going to go too much into that because it's kind of off topic, but long story short, they were administering known bad HPV vaccines in India and Africa, and people are dying from them. That's why India cut their ties off with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. But again, do your own research on that. So oddly enough, this virus was developed somewhere that Bill Gates is one of the largest shareholders at, and then you hear that story, and then you kind of see where I'm probably going to end up going with this, right? Anyway, this newest strain of the virus first arrived in Canada's National Microbiology Lab in Winnipeg on May 4th, 2013. And then they then proceeded to grow it and test it like any lab would, right? And this lab in particular loves coronaviruses because they also provided the first genome sequence of SARS back in 2004. So this lab has history with fucking, with these type of viruses. So it is said that how did this virus reach China was kind of what we're getting to, right? Because that's where it's really hitting, and people from China, people who are leaving China going to other countries, are then infecting other countries. Yeah. So it is said that a shipment of the virus was received at Wuhan Institute of Virology and was studied in bats by Dr. Peng Zhu, who is China's top bat immune system researcher. And so there's some theories going on. I wouldn't even say conspiracy theories because they're actually like peer-reviewed studies on this, but which I have. So if anybody wants to smoke, you got to smoke.
Fact check around here.
Yeah. Don't even trip. I got it. Trust me. So they're saying that basically this virus has been genetically engineered for the purposes of a weapon, or could be genetically engineered for the purposes of a weapon. And again, I will comment on this particular timestamp in the podcast and provide the links for the fucking peer-reviewed studies. Actually, I will do that for you people. So keep in mind, we're about an hour and 11 minutes in the cast. Keep in mind for this timestamp, look for the studies. All right, I'll do y'all that favor. Basically, there's evidence in the strain's RNA. So there's DNA and there's RNA. RNA is the inactive, right? Supposedly. So there's evidence in the strains. Basically, there's augmentations in the RNA that look like no other coronavirus before, but arguably look like HIV. Wow. In fact, the virus even responds to HIV medication. So that's another interesting thing that I want to say here. I don't know. Now I'll let people. I'll provide the studies, and you can read up, and you can, get in your science bag. I'm no scientist. I'm no virologist. You know what I'm saying? I'm no microbiologist, but just the research I've done on this not so new strain that's, oh, by the way, patented. Oh, also so is Ebola and AIDS. They're patented as well. Anyway,
I thought that was a given. I thought it was a given that we knew about the AIDS was patented.
Yeah, it's all patented. Yeah. Trust me, these viruses and these strains and of whatever the fuck, they're not secret. They're not old. They're not new. Yeah. They're not like non-discovered. You know what I mean? These have been studied for decades. So the question is, how did it get out to the general public? Was it released on purpose? Was it an accident? So how they say the first case was contracted from somebody drinking contaminated bat soup, right? And then you hear that Peng Zhu, the China's top bat immune system researcher, is the one who had, evidence, who had the virus in his hands and was doing research. Can you put two and two together? Is that a conspiracy theory? I'll let you people decide on that. But again, I'm not going to say I'm this way or I'm that way, but this is just what the research has brought to my attention. But mainstream media will tell you that it's just one of these it came from bat soup and it's something that's just we can't believe it happened. We don't have any cure for it. There's nothing that we can do to necessarily help people with it yet. When in reality, this type of virus, like the base type of virus, the DNA of the virus, has been known and has been documented since the 1950s. So, again, who's lying to who? I just want to put it out there. But again, the virus is very real. You should definitely take all the precautions that that MSN mainstream media is probably telling you to take. You don't want to get the shit, regardless if it's put out on purpose or not. Like you don't want to get the shit. But I just found it very ironic that we're getting another one of these type of things. But go ahead, Adam.
I have a question. For those at home who aren't aware, how many reports have there been in the United States about this?
Dude, I'm not entirely sure, but I think it's less than 10.
10 total?
Yeah. Like actually, you know what? I know there's over 80,000 in Wuhan, China alone, but right. I can look up the American stats real quick.
Yeah, because everyone was talking about getting into the United States, so I knew it was big in China.
Oh yeah, it's in. I mentioned it's in 4 states. So right now, as of the 31st, there are 6 positive cases of the 2019 coronavirus. 2019-NCOV. There's 6 positive cases, 114 negative cases, 121 pending, equals 241 total, out of 320 million people in the United States. But they would make you think that, granted, I'm not downplaying the severity of it, especially if it is weaponized as these peer-reviewed studies are kind of hinting to, like the RNA resembles that of HIV. Like that doesn't happen naturally. It happens if the strain is manipulated.
And as of 4 hours ago, there's been a second case of coronavirus confirmed in Santa Clara County. 195 people were quarantined in California after fleeing the coronavirus epicenter. And 30 minutes ago, it was a second reported person-to-person transmission of the coronavirus in the U.S.
Yep.
But I did have it because I kind of had I pulled an ad this week and I didn't really research anything, but
that one does get old.
I did have an interesting theory on this. So you know how the protests happening in China, right?
Yeah, Hong Kong, yeah.
And so I was thinking like maybe that had something to do with it. Maybe they were like, hey, I'm putting this in very blatantly, like, hey, let's shut these people up and get them sick, like something like that.
As sinister as that is, I wouldn't be surprised, especially after what I just said.
Yeah, exactly. I'm about to say that might be kind of far-fetched, but maybe not. I don't know too much about it. I mean, I know my co-host on the Half-Ass Podcast, James, he knows all about the whole protest stuff that's going on in China.
Yeah. We mentioned that. I think we mentioned that, and it was either on Half-Ass or something. It's been mentioned in one of these casts. I can't remember which, but
yeah. But yeah, that just came across my mind. I was just like, okay, maybe the government in China was like, hey, let's shut these people up somehow, and let's put some shit out there. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time it's happened.
No, it wouldn't.
Say that. Yeah,
it really wouldn't. I honestly, I wouldn't put it past them, dude. Honestly, like that's probably not far off. Now, it hasn't necessarily, I'm not sure if it's hit actual Hong Kong yet, but Hong Kong is inside of China. So if it's spreading through China like wildfire, it's eventually going to hit Hong Kong. I do know that Hong Kong has a shortage of masks and they're already closing schools down due to it. So, that could be something where it does hit Hong Kong. And if it does really, really end up ravaging Hong Kong, then yeah, I would probably say, yeah, that's probably why. You know what I'm
saying? I assume that if it's hit the U.S. already, it's probably hit Hong Kong in some capacity.
For sure. Yeah, for sure.
In some kind of way.
For sure. And they were actually, what they were doing, they were getting American citizens who were in China and in Wuhan and all those cities that are like heavily infected. They were getting citizens out and bringing them back to America via California. So they were taking them from China, stopping in fucking Alaska, and then getting them on another plane and then coming into California. So no surprise that California has the most recorded cases in all of the United States.
That's what I heard. I heard it was Cali.
And also these are just the numbers that they're telling us. Who knows if it's actually worse? Because I don't know if you've seen any fucking zombie TV show. They don't tell you the real fucking numbers to the quote unquote general public, who are basically just the extras in the show. They don't tell the real numbers. They never do. So so who knows if these numbers are actually are accurate? They could be over 100,000 cases in Wuhan alone right now, and we wouldn't know it.
I can tell you from firsthand experience of anything government wise, there's a lot of layers between the government and the media. If the government really doesn't want something out,
The government owns and controls the media, so yeah.
they won't. It'll be. I give it at least like a good 48 hours before the media or anybody outside of the government will find out roughly whatever the government wants to put out.
Mhm.
So there could be like 24 cases in Kansas, and we won't know maybe until like next week if they really want to put that out.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's true. I don't know what they want you to know.
But yeah, I mean, it's still really kind of new. Like, there's not too much on it, except for that it's been around for 60 plus years. No big deal, right? And in this particular strain, this particular strain resembles no other strain of coronavirus that's ever been seen, and it's been documented since the 50s.
What do you know? Do you know just offhand what the symptoms are? Like what the effects of coronavirus are?
It's like no different than like a common cold, man. You get like sinus pressure, which you get like this really bad respiratory issues. Like you can't breathe, like you get like all this kind of shit in your lungs. That's really the main difference is like the respiratory effects it has.
Okay.
And people just like can't breathe. You just like end up suffocating yourself, and that's how you end up dying from it. But yeah, that's the main difference. But all the other symptoms are just kind of similar to a cold,
Damn,
like
man.
runny nose and shit, like shit like that.
That's fucked up because then you think you're all right until it's too late.
Yeah, but then like they get the respiratory shit, and then it's like when you hit that inhaler one time and it don't work, then you're like, oh shit, it's coronavirus.
And you think, oh shit, on a good day.
Mexicans invaded everywhere. That's coronavirus. No,
Only we had that.
Start seeing that light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, for real.
Start seeing the tunnel behind the light.
I'm telling y'all, man. People don't believe me, man. But 2019 Part 2, man. This is it, bro.
This is it, bro. 20. Yeah.
Yeah. 20. I always love when Corn says that as I'm attempting to build life. Always good to know this is the last year. So.
well, let me tell you something. What if I were to tell you weren't the only person, not even on this podcast, you're not the only person trying to build their life? Like,
right? What if I were to tell you 7 million people are trying to build their life?
100% of the people on this podcast are trying to build their lives. Yeah.
So yeah, be on the lookout for coronavirus. I mean, I don't really know what to look out for in terms of keeping yourself away from other people, because we're always, all three of us, around people all the time, especially with our jobs and stuff. So yeah.
I mean, best I can come up with is stay away from buffets and wash your hands. Like I don't fucking know. Like if it's going human to human, it's got to be some sort of way. I don't know.
Wash your fruit and vegetables too. So let's just be safe.
I'm saying, like, I'll drop the studies in the fucking comments if y'all care. I mean, I hope people care.
Yeah, if anybody wants to read some shit, Jaron's got you on deck. So
we'll do that. I'll do y'all that one fucking favor of doing the research for you just one fucking time, because I know that's a bold claim that I just said, but I've got the peer-reviewed studies. Damn it. So
Jaron has some stuff back up saying, unlike I did. I didn't even know what MLM was apparently until Jaron told me.
When you say shit like it's been genetically altered to be used as a bioweapon, you gotta at least have some sort of and then things in it resemble HIV. Right. Like you gotta have something for that, of course. I ain't just pull that shit out of thin air. Like I checked the scientific things on the virus. It's just crazy, man.
Yeah.
The old saying, "There's nothing new under the sun." It never has done me wrong.
I have a random question for y'all.
Yeah, go ahead.
What's bad with it?
I might have asked you guys this before, maybe multiple times before, but do you guys? And this is a really deep question, at least to me.
I'm ready for that.
Do you guys believe that there's a hell?
See, we were raised raised in the church to think there's heaven and hell. I like to think that there are. As much as my faith has been strained, I still am a Christian. I still consider myself one. I like to believe that if there's a heaven, there should be a hell too. But a lot of the times, Earth feels like hell. So I mean,
that's fair.
At the very same time, there could only be a heaven if we really think about like after death. Maybe if you like don't get to heaven, you just don't get an afterlife. You know. I mean, who's to say? No dead man can tell the tale because Earth might be hell. It's just it's a
remember I brought that up. That Earth could like the punishment for humanity could be us living on Earth right now and being under what we're under.
Yeah,
like that is possible. That's true.
Yeah.
That is.
But do I think there is a hell that by the definition of hell? I'm gonna have to say no. But I don't think there's heaven either. I think that now I'm gonna preface this by saying I do think that whatever, like however you are as a person, like I do think there are repercussions for your actions as a human. But I don't necessarily think there is a heaven and there is a hell, if that makes sense.
So you think that
so like I think that
there will be an afterlife then? I mean,
yeah, there's got to be, man. There's got to be something.
There's obviously some form of afterlife.
There's got to be something.
Well, I'm asking that because if you take away heaven and hell, what is your interpretation? Do you think there's a reincarnation or something else?
I don't even necessarily know if there's reincarnation, but I think you either will have a positive future or you will have a negative future. But I think that also depends on what you as a spirit view as positive and negative.
Okay.
So like I mean, I don't know. That might be a lot out there, but I really think it depends. I don't think there's like a hell where you're underground and it's fire and brimstone and all that kind of shit. And I don't think that there's heaven's white pearly gates and you walk in and there's fucking Morgan Freeman. You know what I'm saying? I'm just kidding.
Oh shit!
But
only fucking Harambe gives you a big hug.
Yeah, Harambe's up there chilling and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Was that more?
I said Harambe, Kimbo Slice.
Yeah.
But
Robin Williams. Man, of course.
But like I mean, the reason why I bid that question is because we're surrounded by death so much. I won't even say lately, but just the older we get, at least the older I get, the more like I just think about that kind of stuff, and I'm just like,
yeah, man, for sure.
Because I was like, the more I think about reincarnation, I'm like, it kind of sounds miserable because it's like it's not like we have any memories of our. If we did get reincarnated, it's not like we have any memories of our former life, so it'd be kind of pointless to be reincarnated. And I also thought like if I die today and I'm buried, and let's say there is no heaven or hell, there is no technically afterlife,
yeah,
but we're just stuck, like our soul is stuck in a casket.
That sounds worse than anything.
That sounds worse than anything.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
But that's why there's cremation, right? I
It
guess.
was like worse than hell. Yeah.
True.
But dude, it's crazy that you even brought that up because I rode my motorcycle for like 5-6 hours a day, and I made a pit stop at my father's grave,
Mm-hmm.
and and keep in mind this is the first time I'd been back since he died, right? I'll admit that on the cast, right?
Damn, bro.
So clearly it was kind of crazy for me, right?
Yeah.
But I was sitting there on the ground and I was just thinking. And I was literally asking myself the same fucking question that Corn just brought up in the cast, man. That's the only reason why I'm bringing this shit up right now.
Oh no, yeah, let it out.
I was sitting there just it was a perfect day. It's February. It was like 60 degrees, like a little breeze going. Like the sun was like the big shadow. You know what I'm saying? It was. Yeah. I was riding motorcycles all day. Like I'm already reflecting on life in general. And then I go to my father's grave, and then I'm just like, man, like what is all this shit really? You know what I mean? At the end of the day, what is all this really? Like it hit me in a way that I hadn't hit in a minute. And this clearly took a left turn from coronavirus.
No, that's fine, bro. We can go into this. But I'll tell you what. Well, go ahead, finish. You finish.
I'm just saying, like I was already it's crazy because I was already reflecting on that today, pretty much the entire afternoon, ever since I went there, basically. And it was weird because I was thinking because I was around the area and I was chilling. I was going to go back home, but then I felt something pull me back, and I was like, it was just like, you gotta go. And I just fucking turned the shit. I literally just turned the shit around and went to go stop at the grave. And I don't know if that is because he could be trapped. I don't know if that's just like me myself finally letting go and just going back to that situation again, or I don't know if that's like my spirit talking to his spirit and they needed to have a chat. I don't know what it was. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's God directing me back to it, whatever the case is, whatever you subscribe. But either way, I was pulled back to the site and I went there and I was there for like maybe 20, 30 minutes. It wasn't that long, but if I stayed any longer, I wouldn't be on this cast right now. But anyway,
No, I feel you.
I fucking yeah, I just sat there and it was just like the most calmest, serene, like 30 minutes of my entire month and my entire 2020, honestly.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Even longer than that, maybe. Like, I don't know. I just wanted to bring it up because it's crazy that you asked that, Corn. Because I was thinking yeah, is there, is there a heaven and a hell? I already have kind of asked myself this 1,000 times before, but I was looking at it a different way from somebody who, I'm sitting on the ground beside somebody, basically the physical remains of my father.
Right.
But like, is that all of him, or is he, is he in heaven or hell, or is what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, right.
I was
so
that's crazy.
Yeah, he. What's funny?
So many questions surrounding that, like, and I'm not trying to sound like an old head because we're not by any means are we old, but it's just like the older I get, the more I think about it, especially like this year already, like the whole Kobe thing is just like when you hear people say like, he's in a better place now. This is like, no, he still had like 3 other daughters he had to raise. Like, he's better off here. But
and you know what pisses me off sometimes when I see stuff like that.
It's just like, is there a heaven? Is there a hell? And what would it? And I know we've been down that road on this podcast before. About like the thoughts and ideas of what afterlife could be. We have a whole episode on it, which listeners, by the way, you can go into our archive, go down and you'll find it somewhere. We only have like 30-something episodes, so you'll find it. But it's just having that thought of like, we never know when, and this has gotten really deep, but who cares?
We're already there now.
Let's do it.
You never know when our time is up. You know what I mean? So, especially being in a position that I'm in, where I'm like, oh man, I gotta start doing what I want to do instead of doing everything that I need to do right this then and now, because you continue to just do what you need to do in life.
Miserable.
Yeah. And then once you look back and you're like, oh shit, I've been doing what I need to do for 20 years, and fuck, I didn't really do what I wanted to do. And so I think about, life, afterlife and before and reincarnation, all other stuff. And it's just really, really weird to think about it. Like, if you think about it for like 5 minutes, you find yourself thinking about it for like 30, you know what I mean? So.
For sure, man. And like, here's something I've been noticing. The thing about Kobe, I saw people on Facebook saying, oh, well, it was his time to come to heaven. Like, no, the fuck it wasn't. It was a fucking accident that he cost the lives of like 7 or 8 people. Like, this guy was like, he did so much good with his life and just had it taken from him because of a bizarre accident. I don't like when people try to like act like, oh, this was God's will. Like, no, shut the fuck up. This is a horrible thing that happened. Yeah. And it just, I can't stand that. I can't stand when there's those types of people of my own religion who are trying to make it sound like this was meant to be. Like, just get the fuck, don't spread that word, please. Yeah.
Anybody that goes into our cast, is reality predetermined? Like, is our life predetermined? Yeah. Like,
exactly, man. Like,
because we saw. Let me just mention something. We saw in an episode of I can't remember the name of the TV show, but it was Adult Swim TV show where Kobe crashes in a fucking helicopter and pops out, and it's Kobe Bryant with 2 trophies in his hand, and they're like,
that was Comedy
Central. Like, oh hey, no, yeah, Comedy Central. Yeah, but we asked if reality was predetermined. We all kind of said not really.
Yeah.
A cartoon depicts Kobe, 2 years prior, 2.5, 3 years prior, crashing in a helicopter and re-emerging with trophies, and then he dies in a helicopter crash. It's a little weird.
That's wild. That's definitely wild.
A little fucking weird.
I think that's just a crazy coincidence, honestly.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this about the whole predetermined reality thing. If I want to get personal here, I don't know if viewers at home, I am now moved again. I have now moved 3 times, twice in 2 months, people. That is a lot of money and time lost for fucking nothing, okay? I'm out here looking for purpose for my life. I moved back to the beach where I was before, right? If reality was predetermined, I honestly could have just never left my hometown. I feel like you have the choice to build the life you want with your time, with your money, with everything inside you. And like Corn said, do what I need to do. Now I'm back to rebuilding a fucking apartment, doing what I need to do, getting my finances back in order because what I need to do. I'm farther from what I wanted to do, from what I want to do than I've ever been. And now I have to waste literal time and money rebuilding what I gave up. Do you think I enjoy that? Fuck no. So I don't think reality is predetermined at all. I think that, yeah, life and death are very important. I think death is extremely important because we are all gonna get there someday, whether it's by freak accident or by whatever kind of blessing we get by getting into old age. Maybe if we're absolutely lucky, like all the old people, you know, of today are fucking blessed as fuck to get to be old, you know? And it's like, hopefully I get there too. Hopefully we all get there too.
I don't think that means that it's necessarily predetermined or not. I think that just means that like that could be your path, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You might need to go through these tribulations.
Yeah.
I know.
For your path,
bro.
You know
well, let me tell you. I feel so much more like I've learned something because from this point on, as soon as I can take care of these needs, it's game on. I'm just like Corn's saying. It's time to start going after what I want because life is going to be over before we can say fuck. You know, like that. Honestly, that's one major thing that I'm so thankful we started this podcast for, is to get our own personal opinions of serious issues out there and just get our voices out there. Because now Corn's got his own platform. He's doing great on that. I'm going to get mine started this year. Mark my words. My channel's getting started this year. As soon as this bullshit's done, I'm getting my own channel started. Dude. We're getting our shit started. Jaron's, you got a fucking business now. Yeah,
but the Comrades is my outlet, man.
Fuck you,
Comrades. I'm Comrades. You know,
Jaron,
I'll hop on y'all shit as a guest and shit. Comrades. You know,
Jaron's Comrade CEO. Jaron's Comrade CEO. But yeah, like again, we're doing this shit because we love it. Okay, this is the stuff that we want our careers to be. Yeah. Like if our full-time jobs were
to be honest with you, like I don't think like my career is in podcasting or entertainment like you guys have it like this is y'all. Like for me, I don't know. I mean, technically I'm an IT professional, but I don't know like if this is like I don't know if this is like my career. Like I don't feel like this is necessarily like my calling in life. But like I don't feel like my actual career is my calling in life either. Like I don't necessarily know if I figured that quite out yet. You know what I mean?
And I mean I don't think podcasting is any of our callings in life.
No, it's not our calling. I think it's a good part-time thing. Yeah,
it's a good hobby and stuff like that. And I wouldn't mind making money doing it. Anyways. Yeah, we need that SoundCloud. We definitely need that contract. But anyways,
yeah,
that'd be wonderful.
Yeah. SoundCloud. If SoundCloud, y'all listening, I know y'all are. Look, man, we got a 30-something episodes now. You know, we hit 10,000 listens. I think it's time we get cut off a little something. And I know Corn and Adam will agree. But if y'all listening, man, just email us. You know what I'm saying? DM us, whatever the hell people call it nowadays.
If not, we're going to Spotify next year.
Shit, we might go to Spotify anyway, but
we might.
Yeah. And I hate to stop us right here, but we do have to segue on to a couple more topics here.
For sure.
Because we talk about this all night.
Oh, dude, for sure. I'd be down.
But so I do want to move on to another topic. I honestly didn't know if I want to talk about it here on this podcast. Here we are talking about it, so decided to bring it up. So we're going to talk about Terry Crews for a minute. All right. Now we've mentioned Terry Crews. I believe we mentioned Terry Crews before on this podcast at one point about the scenario.
Maybe with the Weinstein shit.
Yeah,
I don't think we really mentioned Terry Crews too much on here. No,
I don't think we ever have actually.
Well, to the listeners, I'm sure, especially the faithful ones that have been listening for every single episode that we've had.
Yeah. Shout out to y'all.
Shout out to the OGs.
By the way, I'm sure you guys are familiar with Terry Crews and the stuff that went on with him before, with him being sexually harassed and, as he said, sexually assaulted by his directors and producers, whatever. This story is a little bit different. So a couple of days ago, well, just about a week ago now, Terry Crews, he came out and commented on Gabrielle Union being fired from America's Got Talent. Now, she was saying that it was a toxic environment at America's Got Talent and how they dealt with her being a Black woman and how they still have issues with diversity and treating people with color at the studio, right? Now, Terry Crews, for some odd reason, he had an opinion on this, as every celebrity does with random other celebrities or other random celebrities.
Right.
So he had an appearance on the Today Show last week. And he hosts America's Got Talent, and he was asked about Gabrielle's allegations about it being toxic or whatever. And here's what he had to say: "I can't speak for sexism because I'm not a woman, but I can speak on any racism comments. That was never my experience." Speaking about Gabrielle Union's experience, in fact, it was the most diverse place I've ever been in my 20 years of entertainment, which was strong.
Wow.
And then he actually went on to say that truth telling, wanting change, and having multiple witnesses who bravely came forward to let everyone know I didn't lie or exaggerate, really exposes those who enthusiastically throw you under the bus, forgetting quickly who stepped up for their truth. Why anyone, and then Gabrielle Union comment said, why anyone would gleefully get up on, he went on and said, why anyone would gleefully get up on TV and tell lies that no one disputed, we already know.
Yeah.
So, Gabrielle Union came out and she's like, that was very disrespectful what he said, blah, blah, blah. The typical, I don't want to say typical woman stuff, but what a typical person would respond with after somebody said stuff about their situation, about the place not being diverse enough and them not respecting diversity. And so he tweeted out, he said, I hear you, I respect you, and I understand you. I am sorry, and I'm here to support you. I spoke from my own personal point of view without first taking into consideration someone else's experience. Now, I left out a huge part in that, by the way. Before that, he said that he does not really care about, because of course all the Black women were backing Gabrielle Union. They were saying like, "How dare you? Another Black male, another Black male,
Yeah, not supporting his Black women, blah blah blah. Yeah,
supporting Black women." And then and so he got all this backlash. And then he said that, "Hey, I don't need to impress anybody but my wife, and his wife has to be white.
His wife has to be white. Yeah."
And he says, I don't need to impress any other women. He didn't even say Black women. He said, I don't need to impress any other women except for my wife. Which honestly, I mean, I've never felt that way before. I've never really had a relationship with anybody like that before. But I can see where he's coming from in that somewhat.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If you're married and it's all good, like yeah.
Yeah, like I don't need anybody else's validation, especially another woman's validation. When I'm at the end of the day, I'm going home to my wife. You know what I mean? So then he said, Gabrielle Union is a role model to the entire Black community, and that in his desire to be professionally neutral, that he should at the very least understand that she just needed his support. And Gabrielle Union did not respond, of course, but that's just not of course. And then, of course, he apologized to Gabrielle Union for not taking in her consideration and all that. And he said, I apologize. You have been through a lot in this business, and with that, I empathize with the struggle towards fairness and equality in the workplace.
Jeez.
And do you guys have any opinion on that or any viewpoint on that before I get to the next part?
Yeah.
I mean, so Terry Crews has been an interesting guy anyway, because it's as if like in certain situations he's got all the balls in the world, but in other situations it's as if he might as well be a feminist. Like I really can't figure the dude out. Like he's all macho and all this other shit and all like, you know, pseudo masculine or whatever in his commercials and all this other shit.
Right.
Then he acts like
Old Spice shit, yeah.
And then he claims he was sexually assaulted by a male. But again, I understand that shit does happen. Don't get me wrong. But to the extent that he was taken, that any actual man would have just handled it a different way, quite honestly.
Be careful when you use the word feminist, because remember when that ladies episode that we had, they kind of redefined feminism for us.
Well, that's true. A toxic feminist, put it that way. In certain ways, he acts like a toxic feminist, which they put as what society quotes as actual feminists. But anyways, they trash feminism on that. But that's a gem of a podcast. Anyways, so I think that Terry Crews, you know, he's an interesting dude, and I say that in every sense of the word. And I'm not surprised that he reneged on his word by saying that basically, you know, I don't have to side with anybody except my wife. Which, I mean, I can understand him saying that, but at the same time, if you're going to say something like that, don't renege on your words and then say, "Oh, you know, I'm sorry, you know, Gabriel, you're right. You need my support. I'm gonna side with you." Blah blah blah. Because then it makes your wife look stupid for one.
It makes you look weak by turning back on your word. Yeah, man.
And it makes you look weak for turning back on your word as a man. For two, that should be one, and the wife should be two on that one.
We can't see that, bro.
That's just straight light.
Can't see that, bro. Yeah.
You guys still can't see it? Okay.
No.
Is it a picture of his wife or something?
Breaking news: the halftime report was very. It was secure in jail. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
And everybody's tweeting about it right now. Just look it up when we get off. But yeah, they were shaking their ass. And, yeah. Anyways.
You might was shaking her ass. Wait, hold on. Intermission here.
Halftime here.
But anyways, I did want to plug something in there about Terry Crews, about when he said that he kind of had balls but didn't. I'll say this. I can't really say that he had balls to say what he said because he reneged on it so fast.
Exactly. So quickly.
Yeah. It's
almost as if it was like two different personalities trying to say that, you know, coming out of the same person, which again, when we get to the occult podcast, we might get into some monarch programming and deeper levels of, you know, stuff like that. But anyway, go ahead. And then what these celebrities do and go through. But anyways, go ahead.
Absolutely. And on top of that, I just this has grown into something much bigger over the years in terms of this whole, you know, black and you know, we talk about this all the time, but not on the podcast. But about how I don't want to say it means more when it's about like black women and black men, but we've seen this so specifically where we say, oh, we all need to come together, blah blah blah. But it's always like men are trying to tear down women. White women are saying white men are taking over the world and tearing them down, and then black women are saying that black men are tearing them down, taking over. You know what I mean? Like it's to me, it's just a repetitive thing. It's as if they say, oh, we want your opinions on this stuff, and then we give our opinions, and it's just like, oh,
and then they shut it out.
Yeah,
of course, yeah.
And then we're the ones going back and apologizing for it. We're the ones going back and saying, oh, yeah, we're sorry. We didn't really mean it that way. We meant it like, no, just own up to what you said.
For real, man.
And don't, you know, and even then he apologized for it, but he still didn't really cover up what he said, because he just said, I empathize with you. I apologize for what I said. And you are a great figure and an influencer and whatever with the black community, with the entire black community. But what he was saying was that there's no diversity. He's saying there's no problem with the diversity at the studios that they both worked at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if it's anything like my job, they have like they have basically a certain quota of demographics that they want to have in the workforce.
Yep.
So that is, so if you want diversity, you're getting it, and especially in some sort of like heavily corporate setting, like I'm sure a fucking production studio is.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like they have quotas in place to make sure they have a certain amount of women, you know, a certain amount of this race and that race, and this, you know, non-race, whatever the hell, LMNOP community. They gotta have some of them in there too. You know what I'm saying? Certain disabilities, like these are all quotas that like are built into this shit.
And if you really want to, oh man, I wish you could really get into this. Oh man, one day we're gonna take this to the next level and just and get really into this. But
Oh yeah, for sure.
in entertainment in general, because I have so many examples, especially in wrestling. Obviously, there's so many examples of in the entertainment industry where, like Jaron was saying, there's quotas. We have representation for this and that, and it's not a bad thing to have that. But it's when you try and make it super duper obvious that
Yeah, exactly.
You're doing it because of their talent. You're not really doing it because of what they bring to the table. The only thing they really bring to the table to you as a company is they're different. But it's not really any talent with that.
That's been pushed in many medias, man. Many people have gotten famous based on that very thing.
You know, and I want to stay on this topic because as much as I didn't want to get into this, and Jaron and I will be the first to tell you, I shut this down real quick when Jaron brought this to me about the whole COVID thing last week, because I was like, oh, it's too soon, blah blah blah, whatever.
Yeah.
Apparently it's not, because I don't want to out Jaron or anything, and tell me if I go too far, but you sent me a picture of a woman, black woman, that shared the stuff about Kobe and saying
I heard about that. Yeah.
You know, the whole thing with him. He wasn't married to a black woman, so pretty much devalued and
everything he did as a person,
everything he worked for, and saying
Of course, they're going to do that.
The money after he died isn't going to any fully black females or any black people.
Wow, bro.
I disagree.
Come on.
Yeah, complete bullshit.
But then still, I still was like, man, that's fucking retarded. That's stupid. But then I get on Twitter not even 24 hours later, and there's these hashtags going around, and you know, black women saying, oh, you know, Kobe Bryant wasn't, you know, he wasn't a real black man because he wasn't this or that. He didn't date this or that. Wasn't married to this or that. His kids aren't fully 100% black. Blah blah. I want to shut that shit down. I know I personally am not going to be able to do that. I'm not like a huge figure or anything like that, but I'm going to put my opinion out there and say that that's bullshit.
Yeah, I agree 100%. 110%.
You got pieces of shit who are always going to try to devalue a celebrity after they die, though. In any case, and here we go. They're making it about race again. But like this happens no matter what. If every time a beloved person dies, there's always some group of shit. Some group of evil, if you will, that just crawls out of their hole and decides to make it about them every time.
Mm-hmm.
But even more so than that, though, it's Kobe Bryant, though. Like he's so publicly done so many things for so many people. Like I don't understand how you could even have that fucking argument.
Because evil,
especially black people. He just donated $2 million to an African American museum.
Yeah.
Like before he died.
Yeah.
Him and his wife, who ain't black.
Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying?
And here's the thing. I was watching an interview with Tommy Davidson on the Breakfast Club. I did not know he was raised by a white family, but we don't hear that story.
Yeah, no, but you ain't gonna hear that.
We don't hear that story that Tommy Davidson, one of the most influential comedians, not even just comedians, one of the most influential entertainers, period. From 80s to now,
yeah,
nobody's heard that story. Nobody's heard the story that he was raised by a white woman.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, but yet we want to tear somebody down because they didn't marry a black. Like, come the fuck on, man. He was,
and because of that, everything they did was invalid. They had nothing. You know, they didn't care about black people and blah blah blah. Like,
because pieces of shit are always gonna be pieces of shit. They're gonna find that one little loophole and make it all about themselves.
Hey, absolutely, man. And that part of me doesn't really. I don't really want the fame, anyways. But I mean, unfortunately, with most things, if you want the money, you got to take the fame too. which is unfortunate. But like, it's like more and more. I don't want to be any kind of famous because when I die, it's going to be a whole bunch of he was
a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah,
well, someone. Yeah, there's always going to be just some parasite who, and you got to think about this. The people who are out there doing this have nothing going on in their lives.
Clearly.
You have to think about the big picture stuff when you got these just scumbags trying to degrade a great person who is dead. Like you got somebody.
Go ahead, my bad. Go ahead.
I was saying when you got who is degrading someone who can't fight back now because they're dead. Yeah, they want to keep the spotlight on themselves for once in their miserable life. And what's a good way to do that? Well, let's go against the grain and be a negative scumbag. Let's make up some shit and make it about race. Let's make it about me, myself, and I. Because I want some of that fame too in a different way.
But let me tell you this though. What I find hilarious, and by that I mean what I find odd, is that these videos aren't getting flagged and blocked by YouTube. These tweets and these accounts aren't getting canceled and blocked. It's getting promoted. And not only is it getting promoted, it's you guys have seen it on the fucking news.
Fucking trending.
Well, because
it's trending.
It's like I brought up last week on the comic stuff. Bad publicity is still publicity. It's still gonna get fucking views.
Yeah, but it's not. It's worse than bad publicity though. It's literal lies and shit talking somebody who's dead. Not only that, shit talking somebody. Period. Which YouTube seems to quote unquote have a problem with based on their guidelines. Yeah. But then when you see all these fucking videos, all these chicks talking all this shit, they don't get flagged. They don't get demonetized. They don't get taken down or anything. Yeah. So that's another thing I find funny about it.
Yeah, well, they got double standards out the ass on that. Especially when it comes back to something about women. Go ahead.
It's just after the whole thing that happened 15 years ago with him, with the sexual, whatever happened, or, obviously didn't happen.
Yeah, clearly it didn't happen.
People are still, it's just like no matter in this day and age, and I preach this many, many times on here and the other podcasts I have, where it doesn't matter what you do to keep your nose clean after something you did or hell didn't even do, that you were just accused of doing.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Dead and gone. Yeah. They're going to bring that shit right back up and say, oh, yeah, he was great, but there's always a but to it. And
bro.
This has gotten really old.
Yep.
Really old.
Perfect analogy. I watched the fucking Denzel movie Flight last night, where he was a pilot but he was an alcoholic and had some addiction issues, and the plane malfunctioned and he had to emergency land it. He flew it upside down to level it out and all this other crazy shit that nobody could even reproduce. But he was a fucking alcoholic, and at the end of the movie, they tried to pin it on the chick he was banging, but he cared about, and who was a flight attendant who died on the shit. And they were they pretty much set it up so that he would get away scot-free and he couldn't let himself do it. Wow, but it's the same thing where like people were harping on the fact that he was an alcoholic, but not on the fact that he saved 96 lives on that plane.
There's always a but. There's always
a but.
But it's freaking ridiculous, man.
What it really comes down to is that person is famous, and these people are jealous.
But it's more than that, bro. But
let me tell you this too. You don't even have to. First of all, you don't even have to die for this to happen. Second of all, you don't even have to be famous for this to happen.
That's true.
I'm a relative. I don't know if you guys ever heard of actor Sidney Poitier.
Yeah.
I'm a relative of his, and on my mom's side, and they mentioned the fact they try and slide in there that he's married to a white woman. Like who cares if he's married to a white woman? Like that's not his leg. You know what I mean? Like.
Because it's something that's against the old tradition, man. It's against the old tradition values.
It's the whole thing growing up, and again, I don't want to make this about race or anything, but that's the only thing I can really relate to at this point in my life is that even in a small family where it's like, oh, so and so, he's out here doing this, or so and so, is successful in this, but he's got white kids, or he's doing that, or
they gotta have something. They gotta have something.
Who you lay with does not determine who the fuck who you lay with does not determine your worth as a person and who and what the accomplishments that you make and like the legacy that you leave.
A lot of people
It has fuck all to do with who you decide to lay with.
To a lot of people, that's
That
one of the
shit should be
number one
private.
things. Yeah, to a lot of people, that's number one. I know plenty of people who point
fucking
that out
bullshit.
above everything else. Oh, but this, because they got to have something to knock you on too, because they got to make themselves feel better. You got to think about people who are jealous of you too, man, including relatives. You got to think about if you're doing better than them in every aspect, they got to find something to tear you down, because how else are they going to feel good, you know? So yeah, so what's that one thing? Oh yeah, he's married to this or that, or yeah, he married outside his race or something. Yeah, but there's that. I got that on him, you know. Like it's like these people aren't happy for you at the end of the day.
Or he was in jail 30 years ago for something.
Right.
And
I bet you Robert Downey Jr. still gets shit for his past self, regardless of how successful he is now.
They brought up that blackface thing not too long
Oh,
ago.
yep, and the Joe Rogan.
They brought that shit up, man, and he said he didn't regret it. Which
Exactly.
why the fuck would he?
Yeah, for sure. But he also had his past, with drugs or whatever. I don't even fucking know for sure, but like, I bet you, someone in his family, maybe not family, but somebody who he's known through his life, will still bring that up to get at him. It doesn't matter, because someone is going to be jealous of you once you start getting successful. Like, period.
Yeah, and it's the same thing with the whole like white chicks thing. When the Waynes did the white chicks thing, like I'm sure when they die, it's going to be a whole like, oh, but they did what? You know what I mean? Like.
I was going to bring that up earlier when we were talking about Terry Crews. He was in White Chicks. But yeah, like, I was thinking about that. Yeah.
And there's always going to be a but. There's always going to be a whole slight to this or that. Like.
Of course.
The only reason why I get so mad about it is just like it's coming. It's just like, how are we going to come? And we say it's every fucking podcast. Like, how are we going to come together as people?
No.
Period.
We can't even, get over this shit.
Because in order for us to become one as people, is we got to get right with the gender thing. First of all, we got to know what the fuck gender we are. Second of all, we got to know what what our sexual preference is. We got to come together on that too.
Yeah.
And be accepting in that too. We have to come together as races. Not racist, but racist.
Come together as racists.
But come as racist. But we can't do that when genders are tearing down each other, men are tearing down other men, sexual orientations are tearing down other sexual orientations, races are tearing down their own races. Like, we're not gonna be able to, like, at this point, like, it's like, dude, is there even a light at the end of the tunnel for any of us as one whole?
The more I live through this life, the more cynical I get.
Yeah. Same here, man.
Because the shit that I was reading about 10 years ago is coming to fruition.
Yeah.
And I was hoping it fucking wouldn't.
Yeah.
And if you want to keep it 100, a lot of these people that are complaining about Kobe and all this and that, you got the power just by way of how society's going to fix the shit yourself. But you're too busy shaking ass on Instagram and shit.
Yeah.
To give a fuck about it.
So,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel you.
Like, I'm gonna leave it at that, but because this isn't about that. But I'm just saying, if we're gonna keep it 100 here, then the power is there, the ability is there.
Because I just find it ironic that all this happened in a week, to where a woman is turning down a man because of his opinion on the exact same workplace. I can see if he never stepped foot in that studios, right?
But he's been there.
But he works there, so he can speak on that, and he can relate to it because he is black.
Yeah.
And then in the very same week, we have a death of a worldwide athlete and celebrity and a person of influence. And then
who was actually a positive person and never was in any stupid bullshit, or you never heard anything really about himself for one incident 15 years ago.
Absolutely.
No, but that's all they had, so that's what they had to use.
Absolutely. And you can hear and listen to and watch a lot of other celebrities. Like, I listened to Joe Budden podcast, and he was talking about how he was just at the New Year's party, at P. Diddy's New Year's party, and the only realist nigga that was there was Kobe. He wasn't all dressed up. He was there just being him.
Yeah.
And you hear other stories about where people were at one point, like about 10, 15 years ago, where Kobe was in the club, and Kobe was like, I'm done with this. Like, I'm done chilling in the club. I'm done doing this shit. Like,
yeah. Somebody who was a good father to his kids, a good husband to his wife.
Yeah, he's now doing shit that other people doing.
Yeah, dude.
And then
He was a piece of shit.
Still, after his death, people still call him a piece of shit because of somebody he married.
Because they gotta have something to tear him down.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
these people who are miserable, because it's about them. It's not about Kobe. It's about them. The people who are miserable can't let someone go in peace.
Not only that, shitting on his legacy, on his kids, saying his kids aren't all black, saying his kids are half and half and shit like that. Come on, man.
They've got to have something.
Yeah.
As fucked as it is, they got to have something to back their own awful opinions on, and that's what they've chosen. They got to make it about race, because no matter what, you're always going to have some piece of shit who's also going to be racist, and there you go. There's their argument. It's
judgmental. Period. You know, it's just judgmental. Period.
I mean, but it's a lack of basic human compassion.
Yeah,
a lot of people don't have that, man.
Like it's a lack of, oh, this woman just lost her daughter, her first daughter, her oldest daughter, and her husband, who quite clearly did what he was supposed to do as a man in the family.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And you're sitting here talking about, oh well, she's not black, so everything that he ever did is invalid, and are making up points as to why this is a valid position to have in general. Not even, the body ain't even cold. They ain't even pulled him off the damn helicopter yet, and these people are already talking this shit.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I you know, shit like that. I like when you hear shit like that, like, I lose all faith in humanity, honestly. Like if people can't even at least I'm not saying you have to be all sad and crying and missing work like a lot of people were. Because I wasn't doing that either, right? I've lost some people way closer to me, and you know, I didn't call out work for that shit. But anyway, at the very least, hold your shit talking for a week.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. If you're going to complain about him not being with somebody, you should have done it while he was alive. First off.
Oh no, you know why? Because then he could have defended himself.
Yeah, not even. Yeah, nothing to defend. It's you know, it's crazy. Like I don't know, but
can't stop. You're never gonna be able to stop evil, bro. Like I'd love to be able to act like this shit's gonna stop. Like we can stop these, like, the true trash of the earth from doing this. They won't. They won't, because it's about them. It's about, they gotta have a little bit of that pie themselves, even if they're not getting paid for it. They gotta get a little bit of the limelight. So how do we reach people quicker than positive deeds? Well, by just truly fucked up ones. And
so you're saying that.
So you're saying, so what you're saying is basically like evil is going to prevail. That's basically what you just said, right?
On social media, yeah.
So no, but take that and then take what we were talking about, you know, maybe a half an hour ago. Yeah. About, you know, is earth a punishment for humans? You know what I'm saying? Clearly, evil is in the forefront, and good is in the you know.
You got to work harder. You got to work harder. You got to work harder. You got to work harder for good to reach an ear.
But why is that though? Like, why? Like, people, so many people, like, the power of good is supposed to be so much more, like, you know, positivity is supposed to be so much more powerful than negativity, right?
Nope, not anymore.
But why the fuck is it that negativity and bullshit and evil always makes it to the top? Like, is that because Earth is supposed to be our punishment? Like, is good supposed to not ever prevail? Or is it like, this is just what sells, and then everybody's and just like what is generating the hype behind it is evil? Then that why evil is prevailing is because evil has the dominion over us.
I got.
Is it Earth? Is it like government? Like you know what I'm saying? Like,
because the cool thing now is to be different. It doesn't matter your reason for being different. If you're different, you somehow get accepted even more. Probably you gain a following for just being different. Like growing up, people don't know how it was for us growing up being different than most people, because while we all three had different walks and different paths growing up and being different.
Still do, yeah.
People nowadays, I don't want to say kids nowadays, just people in general nowadays just want to be different for the sake of being different. They want that. It's all about attention now, which is crazy to me.
Yeah.
Because you would think bad attention you'd stray away from, but people still they don't care about that. And speaking of too, by the way, I do want to apologize because I just now remember from the last episode we did, because I just put my foot in my own mouth, even bringing the subject up, this whole subject up, because last episode, I don't know if you guys remember, but we talked about Julian God years ago.
Yeah.
And I was, I said some things that I probably shouldn't have said, especially on a podcast. So I do want to apologize for the things I said about Julian, who is no longer alive.
Yeah. R.I.P. Julian, man. This dude died in middle school. He was one of our.
I don't remember you saying
one of my homies, but I know Corn.
Too abrasive about it, but.
Yeah, but I mean, I should have just kept it to myself.
I mean, I understand. And that's some real shit for coming back and apologizing for that. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, one thing I want to throw in.
Going to be the only apology that you can get from me here on the Contemporary Comrades. The entire
much.
So you say, Corey.
The entirety of 2019 too.
I think that's the first time I apologize for anything on this podcast. So yeah.
Yeah, it's very rare, folks.
Well, that's worth it though. So
one thing I want to throw in before we close out is that, like Corn was saying, like you were saying too, Jaron, I feel like misery loves company to the point nowadays where so many people are miserable more than those for truly happy in life. So when we or they see, however you want to put it, something negative, you're more likely to accept it because the misery is that strong. And like, I feel like that's why negative shit gets more popular than positive, on a wider scale, at least as far as, I guess why like fight videos and shit like that and just disgusting stuff is still getting so many views, and some people literally make their careers off it.
I'll be the first to admit I watch a lot of fight videos. I'm not gonna lie, but some for my own entertainment. But also though, who's to say that the people that are quote unquote happy are even happy?
Yeah,
exactly.
Especially these celebrities. Like the only celebrity death that really hit me kind of hard was Chester from Linkin Park.
Yeah,
that's the time where I was like, fuck.
I was pretty upset at that too, because
I didn't see that coming, and for somebody that was influenced by his music and his lyrics and stuff like that.
Oh, for sure.
Mike Shinoda as well.
Yeah,
but like, you don't really know how happy these people are. So when we tear people down like that, you don't know how sensitive people. Because somebody like me, you can try and say whatever you want to me on social media. I don't really care because I know who I am as a person. I know that I'm only going to find happiness internally, not externally.
Very true.
But a lot of celebrities out there are actually celebrities because they've relied on other people's opinions and other people's thoughts on them. So when they see shit like that come back on them, or I don't want to say come back on, but when they see somebody say, "Oh, they're happy, they're fine, they're making millions, blah blah blah, whatever," let's shit on them. They don't care. When honestly, a lot of more people than not probably care about other people's opinions on them. Mm-hmm. So who's to say that they're happy just because they're making such and such money? I think that's the biggest false narrative about people with success, because you can be successful. I mean, look at anybody. I don't want to say every single person, but look at anybody that's in that $1 billion club, quote unquote,
right.
And look at how many they're lacking in some other area in their life. So you think about okay, they're worth $3.3 billion, but how many marriages and divorces have they going through?
Very true.
Yeah. How much money are they paying in child support?
Child support, yeah.
I mean, think about
that shit fucks you up.
Think about old dude who was the artist and the artist who was worth $12 point whatever $1 million in New York. And as soon as his mom died, this dude quit everything, decided to be homeless.
That's crazy.
Walked out to New Jersey, and this dude ended up dying from drugs.
Wow.
And he had everything in the world.
Yeah, you really don't know what someone's going through. You know, that's why it's always so shocking when like celebrities die based on like self harm. You know what I'm saying? Like Robert Williams or Chester or whoever else has died from an overdose or some kind of self-induced suicide. That's always very shocking because we assume they are happy because they've achieved so much. But I think, Corin, you told me back when Chester died, because I told you why this guy do that when he was so successful. And I mean, I think deep down, I already knew that this wasn't the success in where you have it. But you actually told me that, and I thought about it for a while. I was like, wow, I actually kind of already knew that, but I don't know why I even needed to ask the question, because you think about success being an escape from misery, but it isn't always true.
And sometimes success actually adds to whatever you're dealing with. So and again, I know we didn't really think we were going to get into a deep podcast here, but I think this is probably the deepest episode we had, and I feel like this is good. I feel like
I agree.
I mean,
we need this every
oh, bro, especially what I've just done. Past 2 weeks in my life. I mean, I think a deep episode is just what I needed. Hopefully the viewers can relate a bit to something we've covered tonight. We've been all over the world here. But,
it was definitely needed, man.
For sure, guys.
Any final words from anybody, man?
Well, everybody, we appreciate you listening in. Hopefully you made it through the whole thing. And we'll be back, before you know it, with more shit. But yeah, we definitely appreciate it. Go ahead.
Our next episode will be occults. If I said that right?
Maybe.
We're gonna go.
Maybe occult.
We might have a guess for that one.
Maybe something else.
Yes.
Possibly probably occult, but we'll see.
I'm working on a couple more guests for not only Contemporary Comrades, but for Half-Ass Podcast as well. But I'm definitely looking for some returning guests. We're gonna have another guest, our other bro Nate, big Nate.
Yeah, we got Big Nate on.
Yeah, he's gonna be joining us for one of our random episodes as well.
We might talk about some politics and guns with Nate. So be ready for that.
Cars too, right? He wants to get about cars.
Yeah, we can talk about some cars too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Have a good episode.
Yeah, maybe we can talk. Maybe we can talk about how there was supposed to be the return of the Supra in the Fast and Furious 9 trailer, and there was
they already remade the Supra though. That's already. Yeah, I just actually saw one today in Harrisonburg.
Oh damn! I didn't. No, I was talking about in the trailer, but I didn't see it in the trailer. But
they did remake the Supra, but it's got a BMW engine and BMW drivetrain. So I mean, what is it really? But that's for sure.
I did want to put in a plug in really quick. My co-host James just started his new podcast here on SoundCloud called 407 Reviews, where he reviews music and different tracks and different records and different albums. In terms of rock and rap. He just released his first episode last night. So make sure you guys check that out. 407 Reviews on SoundCloud.
That's what's up.
And so shout out to James. Make sure you guys go to SoundCloud as well. I'll try and
they're already there.
And try and post it or whatever. Also, keep a lookout for Half-Ass Podcast. I've always got new content coming up, especially lately. I think I uploaded three videos within the past 4 days.
Yeah, they're all good, so watch them, damn it.
Yeah, so make sure you guys check that out.
Yeah.
You guys got any plugs?
Shit.
Not yet. Once I get my fucking studio built, I'm opening my channel Synchros here, but it's not open yet. But it is going to start this fucking year, or I don't even know what I'm gonna do. But like that shit's happening because I'm building my fucking studio right now. Not to be confused with studio apartment. But anyways, Jaron.
Shit. I don't have any plugs, man. Just shout out to all the OGs. Shout out to all the new Gs. You know what I'm saying? We do have some new listeners with actual profiles and pictures and shit. So shout out to y'all.
Appreciate
yeah.
that.
I can't. Sometimes I can't tell if half these people are real or not. But
Oh no,
shout out to all the you know what I'm saying, all the new listeners, all the old listeners,
all the new blood, all the old
10,000
blood.
listens finally. Just took us a little over a year, 10,000 listens total.
Thanks for anybody who's been here since the beginning too. We definitely appreciate the you know the ride or
Mr. Five,
dies.
you know what I'm saying? All y'all know who y'all are. I gotta shout out y'all know.
Yeah.
But,
Everyone knows. Those who have been here for a while, like we definitely appreciate it.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I just want to shout it out, and hopefully y'all enjoyed this episode, and you know, get you thinking on a deeper level, because that's really why the fuck we do this.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Corn, Big J, Heavy J, Adam. We went off on the deep end on this episode. Definitely much needed though, much needed.
Yeah, this could have been a 5-hour podcast, but
a little bit of venting on this
so
one.
my partner's tired and I'm hungry, so yeah.
Well, none of us had to work the next day on this episode, so that's why we got to go a little longer.
I mean, I do.
You know?
I'm on just, but anyways.
That's right. Never mind.
we all gotta work. All right, whatever. Anyway, but yeah, Contemporary Comrades,
Going
the
out.
Contemporary Comrades podcast.
Peace out.
Later.